TikTok videos. I wasn't really watching them, but something in me told me just everyone's scrolling, just like scroll. Like, what is so good about this thing? If everyone's doing it, there has to be something good about it. And I started to scroll. And I didn't even necessarily like it. I felt like I was fighting with my brain, but I didn't stop. It became like something that just kept happening. I didn't really like it. I wasn't necessarily consenting, but I just kept doing it. And if myself,
Consent?
I authorized myself to scroll, and suddenly I just couldn't stop. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I promise you, like, in the beginning, it wasn't addicting. In the beginning, I didn't even want to do it. I had to consciously tell myself, scroll. And then it became something that I kept doing. Suddenly, my thumb would just tap TikTok, and I was like, what? What? Why am I on TikTok right now? I would be in class. All of a sudden, I'm trying to open up the camera to take a picture of the slideshow. Why is TikTok open?
Niggas know.
I don't even know what the mechanics are, like how they formulated this algorithm. It is crazy. I watched The Social Network in like 2019 or something, and they explained some of it. Like, apparently, they have like these entire models of like how your algorithm works, and it's like almost like a model of who you are as a person for everybody who has a phone. And like, they will send you certain buzzes at certain times, whatever, curated on the basis of all your data and all that you do. Sometimes your phone will just light up. Sometimes your phone just turns on. It looks at you. It stares at you and tells you to use it, bruh. I get the phantom buzzes too. Like, it's just weird stuff.
I don't get that.
It made me think differently about notifications, but still, at some point, we just continue to consent. Like, I think the system realized that we know already. Like, we have too much information. AI has made it so we have way too much information. We have more than that than ever. So they allow us now, because there's such like a pollution of information online, they allow us to know the truth. It's scattered in there somewhere. You can watch a video and it can tell you exactly what they're doing to you, but it's the obsession and it's the normalcy of it specifically, not even just an obsession, not even like it's just the best dopamine hit ever. It's really not. It's really low grade, debased dopamine, bro. It made me think differently about notifications, but still, at some point, we just continue to consent.
I'm a cop.
Like, I think the system realized that we know already. Like, we have too much information. AI has made it so we have way too much information. We have more than that than ever. So they allow us now, because there's such like a pollution of information online, they allow us to know the truth. It's scattered in there somewhere. You can watch a video and it can tell you exactly what they're doing to you, but it's the obsession and it's the normalcy of it specifically, not even just an obsession, not even like it's just the best dopamine hit ever. It's really not. It's really low grade, debased dopamine, bro. It's not even like good, but it's the routine of the matter that is addicting, because sometimes I'm just sitting here like, what am I supposed to do with my life? What am I doing? I'm at this point where I'm very much kind of on my own, kind of just working on my projects, applying to internships, final projects, like school. Like, I'm not necessarily out and about with like other people a lot. So sometimes I'm just pacing. I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? And the phone tries to fill that time, but even now I'm getting disgusted by it. Every single day, I just want to do it less and less. Every single day, I'm just like, oh my God. I just sit there sometimes. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this thing? Like, what is this thing serving me for? It's like I can open up Reels. I can open up TikTok. What else? What can I do besides work? It's like, that's why I've just started to buy books, bro. I've just...
Oh. That's also another trap. But it's so real. I don't really prefer hard copy.
Started to buy books, like... And it's like, I already read books for school. Like, I'm already a well-learned person to the point where sometimes reading just feels like, all right, bro, am I just doing more work?
Exactly.
Like, I already read, bro. But it's...
Once I'm, like, done learning in school, I'll read some shit. I have to, or I'm gonna be dumb.
At this point, I've got to find like the perfect kind of book to satiate, to feel like entertainment, but also something to do, you know? I think that books are gonna save us in this time, bro. Books have gotta save us in this time because something is wrong. Like, I don't even like the phone anymore. I don't. I need something to, like, there are times where, like, certain apps fuel certain addictions. Like, certain apps, like, I'll open up Reels when I want kind of some informational stuff. I'll open up TikTok when I want to see what's going on with the masses. And then open up Hinge when I want to feel loved.
I'm done.
It's not like I do anything on there, really. It's just a game. It's like swipe, 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 swipe. It's my Candy Crush game, okay? But when there's not those two, I'm just sitting there like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't know. So I've just decided I've got to get the perfect books. I got to find the perfect book.
Then you want all of the books. I need to get this one book. It's like, it's not a good book. I'm not putting anyone on this bad book. So all right.
It's not like I do anything on there, really. It's just a game. It's like swipe, 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 swipe. It's my Candy Crush game, okay? But when there's not those two, I'm just sitting there like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't know. So I've just decided I've got to get the perfect books. I got to find the perfect book. Please recommend me the perfect book for me, please, because like something's got to fill that hole. I know it's not this nonsense, bro. We've got to create a new aura economy on the basis of education. And that's my next video.
I be watching some bullshit, bro. Including this, but this is informative bullshit. You gotta add personality to political shit. Nah.
Xbox and Bethesda just announced their summer showcase for 2020.
Oh, game slop. That's what I like.
And this one's going to be insane. Are we finally getting the Elder Scrolls 6? Most of the gaming community thinks there is no way this is coming, but 2026 did pop up on some of those leaked documents, and I personally think the Elder Scrolls 6 in 2026 is a lot more possible than many of you realize. But either way, this is also right around the end of that leaked Bethesda roadmap, so they definitely could have some other very surprising and very exciting announcements coming in just a couple of months. I mean, hey, Fallout 4 is even supposed to be getting more content soon. But if you're an RPG fan, there is so much more even beyond all of this. The Witcher 3 is almost certainly getting a new expansion this year. At this point, even IGN Poland is claiming to have heard about it, and CDPR themselves are mentioning new content. There's a good chance we're going to see this at the showcase, but also games like Fable, Clockwork Revolution, and even Hogwarts Legacy 2 could be there. A ton of these games are already confirmed to be coming in 2026, so it's going to be one of those years where we see a ton of RPGs that we're just months away from playing. And the leaks around so much more even beyond all of this. The Witcher 3 is almost certainly getting a new expansion this year. At this point, even IGN Poland is claiming to have heard about it, and CDPR themselves are mentioning new content. There's a good chance we're going to see this at the showcase, but also games like Fable, Clockwork Revolution, and even Hogwarts Legacy 2 could be there. A ton of these games are already confirmed to be coming in 2026, so it's going to be one of those years where we see a ton of RPGs that we're just months away from playing. And the leaks around some of these games have already started to ramp up. But of course, the biggest question...
I can't RPG Max, bro. I could. But school.
Going into this year's showcase is, are we seeing The Elder Scrolls 6? I think most of the broader gaming community assumes the answer is no, but there still is a little hope in the back of your head that we could see at least a teaser this year, right? Well, I'm here to say that isn't crazy. I think we could see something around The Elder Scrolls 6 and maybe even be playing something this year. Because as wild as this may seem, all of the available evidence from past documents and leaks that we have right now is pointing towards a 2026 release date for The Elder Scrolls 6. Like, just check this out. Back in 2022, Todd Howard went on Lex Friedman's podcast and got in depth about Bethesda Game Studios' development timelines.
Where we're sort of at maximum size. We just call that production. That's like the full production period. And that, depending on the game, can run a year, 2 years, maybe more. And then you kind of have a
we looking at him the same way.
Final 6 months to a year on a game, which is okay.
That's 3 minimum.
We've built everything now. And usually it needs a lot of glue, where we have a lot of very different elements that maybe aren't clicking together the way you want outside of the regular polish for levels and features.
My guy.
And we're shaving and gluing and sticking things together so that it's not this schizophrenic game experience that things flow from one into another.
The big takeaway being that once development really kicks off with all hands on deck, like things are right now with The Elder Scrolls 6, Todd Howard says it's roughly 2 years of full production and then 6 months to a year of polish. Back in August of 2023, Pete Hine said The Elder Scrolls 6 was in development, no longer in pre-production, which based off of Todd Howard's very own timeline from 2022, would put us right around 2026 for when The Elder Scrolls 6 would be ready, at least roughly. Right now, The Elder Scrolls 6 would be entering into that glue phase, assuming things line up. And what you'll find is 2026 pops up a lot with The Elder Scrolls 6. It's almost like Bethesda Game Studios was using these same timelines for their own internal estimates. We saw this a bunch during the FTC trial with Microsoft. We have this internal Bethesda roadmap that leaked. We'll talk more about this as several other games from it might finally be popping up at this year's showcase. While many of the release years for these games have been off due to the pandemic and other variables, this roadmap has actually been fairly accurate if you just delay everything 2 years. But notably here, it had a 3-year gap between Starfield and The Elder Scrolls 6. So in 2020, when this was made, a 3-year gap still seemed possible to Bethesda. We got this document from Microsoft on their Bethesda acquisitions and games. It was made around late 2022 to early 2023, and it does list The Elder Scrolls 6 as dropping in 2026 or later. This has Starfield as a 2023 title, contrasting that other roadmap, so even post-buyout, 3-year gaps between games were somewhat on the table based on their own estimates. And the thing that has always stuck with me, one of the Microsoft lawyers who took the stand said that The Elder Scrolls 16 is expected in 2026. Obviously, that lawyer got the game's entire number wrong, so how much can we really trust that? But my takeaway was always that even as of September of 2023, as this FTC trial was going on, and Microsoft fully owned Bethesda at this point, several people internally at Microsoft, and presumably Bethesda, still viewed 2026 as a possible release year for The Elder Scrolls 6. To them, this didn't seem insane, and this was just weeks after Starfield had released. Like, to me, somebody had to tell this lawyer a date, and that person picked 2026. So okay, all of that is quite hopeful, and a ton of these Elder Scrolls 6 and
That's a good way to look at that.
2026 posts, you'll find a lot of what I just talked about as evidence.
I like
But
that.
now,
I like
2.5
that.
years of dev time have gone by since a lot of that happened, so where do things stand now? Well, fortunately, the most recent
brush my
updates
teeth
on
for
the Elder
them.
Scrolls 6 makes it sound like development has been going very well. The big new thing to get revealed is that the Elder Scrolls 6 will be using Creation Engine 3, and Todd Howard says this engine upgrade went very smoothly.
But the one thing I'd say is really the tech. You know, as we're going to Creation Engine 3, again, the team has done a really incredible job at, like, not just pushing what it is, but how it's integrated into our development cycle. So you don't feel that what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, like, the game goes down. So we're in a fortunate position where that's a game where, you know, the builds are really consistently working every day.
Todd Howard mentions he would give the team doing the upgrade an A+, and what makes this more notable is engine upgrade difficulties were cited as one of the things that made Starfield take so long. So the Elder Scrolls 6 will hopefully have a shorter development cycle compared to Starfield as a result of the engine upgrade being more efficient this time around, and of course the lack of a worldwide pandemic. And even though it just popped up into the talking points recently, Creation Engine 3 is a pretty big deal for this game. The only issue is we don't really know why. This is bringing some tech upgrade to the engine that Todd Howard has been planning for the Elder Scrolls 6 for over a decade now. Some feature required some kind of new technology that we just didn't have. But you could find him talking about needing this tech all the way back in 2016, and he mentions it several more times in other interviews, how the tech wasn't there yet. But only just recently, Todd Howard told Mortismal Gaming that the tech is finally there for whatever this feature is. And that tech is something around this engine upgrade to Creation Engine 3 specifically. So some kind of feature or mechanic of the Elder Scrolls 6 required a more advanced engine even compared to Starfield. I personally think it could be some kind of crazy view distances like we saw in the supposed leak clip, and maybe better streaming around sailing and loading in big cities and stuff. And that really is the argument for a 2026 release. Todd Howard's own timeline and these internal documents all make 2026 seem very possible. It's the only year we have concretely connected to the Elder Scrolls 6, and development of this game has seemingly gone quite well. So why does everyone think this isn't happening this year? Well, also Todd Howard. Just in November of 2025, he said the Elder Scrolls 6 is still a long ways off, and how he was preaching patience so fans don't feel anxious. Many people took that quote and ran with it, assuming that, okay, if he's saying patience, we're looking at 2028 or later now. And even more recently in some of the interviews, Todd Howard has had a reluctance to even discuss the Elder Scrolls 6, which definitely doesn't make it feel like things are close to release. Although, the counterpoint to that is something similar did kind of happen with Fallout 4. Both Todd Howard and Pete Hines said it'll be a while before they're ready to talk about Fallout 4 in 2014. Fallout 4 was revealed and released the very next year in 2015. So could something similar be happening with the
It was like 2016. It was December, bro. It was like November.
Elder Scrolls 6 right now?
It was Q4 2015.
Is there reluctance to speak about it because they're actually about to speak about it? I honestly don't know. I think it's totally fair to be optimistic and hopeful for 2026, despite what the broader gaming community will say. This date has popped up already, but at the same time, with how important the Elder Scrolls 6 is for Bethesda, to me, and I think many other people, 2027 just feels more likely somehow. More time is better, right? And as I'm writing this video, a new X Factor is definitely coming forward, as Asha Sharma is the new Xbox CEO, and she is changing things. Part of these plans directly include the Elder Scrolls franchise. She's literally made that clear, and we're seeing talk of exclusives returning to Xbox. The Elder Scrolls 6 is one of the largest upcoming games.
I'm buying an Xbox, bro. You will see me on the Xbox app.
For this company. The Elder Scrolls 6 could become a huge factor in the new CEO's plans, and
Windows costs like $150, bro.
it is very likely that next year is the launch of the new Xbox. So either having the Elder Scrolls 6 as an exclusive launch title, or even alternatively, having the Elder Scrolls 6 come as an exclusive end-of-generation title, and then double-dipping on some kind of new generation copy for next gen, could be huge. This is one of those things where we really don't know. Xbox is changing, and Bethesda might change with that. But what we do know is Todd Howard does love surprises. and an Elder Scrolls 6 reveal at this year's summer showcase would be genuinely shocking. Although not really all that crazy at the same time if you look at some of the quotes and details we've gotten thus far. It seems like this should be possible on paper. Once upon a time, Bethesda did have 3-year gaps between games, and since Fallout 4, they have quintupled in size. But in some ways, I almost hope the Elder Scrolls 6 is coming in 2026 because there are so many other RPGs on the way, particularly at Xbox. One of the big clues that something more is coming from Xbox overall this year is their fan celebration FanFest. FanFest is returning in 2026 after not happening at all in 2025. And even further, FanFest is going to be in even more cities on a bit of a world tour. To me, this suggests that Xbox is planning to be very busy throughout the year, and part of that could just be more releases in general from both Bethesda and Xbox. If we apply this 2-year offset to the roadmap, it technically is ending this year and several projects have never released. Could we actually see Fallout 3 Remastered, this Blade game, and even a surprise project? Fallout 3 Remastered is of course the big one. Lots of fans are genuinely quite hopeful or even expecting to see a reveal or shadow drop of Fallout 3 Remastered this year, and the showcase is the big moment for that to happen. And the game did just get a very interesting new leak. Toy News International spotted a listing on Bro Depot, an online toy retailer for a bunch of upcoming McFarlane toys, including Elite Edition 7-inch Fallout 3 Remastered T-45B Nuka-Cola, aka a model of T-45B power armor in a Nuka-Cola paint in the style of Fallout 3 Remastered, which honestly is an absolutely massive leap. I think a lot of people probably don't even realize how big of a leak this is on first glance. Because
That is
this
huge.
is the first time we have ever seen Fallout 3 Remastered mentioned in any even remotely official capacity. All of the other leaks are just around a hypothetical Fallout 3 remaster. But of course, this game will very likely copy the Oblivion Remastered naming scheme. Toy News International has reported on Bro Depot product listings like this in the past, and they're consistently accurate. These products often do end up releasing later on, like we have here with Batman. And this being a new toy actually makes a ton of sense. In Fallout 3, power armor was visually more like regular armor as opposed to Fallout 4's vehicle-like take on power armor. And of course, that's what basically all of the existing toys look like, so a Fallout 3 remastered power armor toy would actually look quite a bit different. And the listing even mentions a Nuka-Cola paint job. Custom power armor paints weren't a feature in the base game of Fallout 3, so this would seemingly be something new they're adding in for the remaster. All in all, this actually feels like a very legit and big leak to me, especially when you consider the original Bro Depot listing, which has now been taken down, had this toy coming out by August 31st, 2026. So now, of course, placeholder dates should always be taken with a grain of salt, but that is a very specific date. Could we actually be playing Fallout 3 Remastered by this August? It seems fairly unlikely. Last we heard from Nate the Hate, the person who correctly leaked Oblivion Remastered, Fallout 3 Remastered was still a ways away. He was giving us monthly updates on Oblivion leading up to release, but he hasn't heard anything on Fallout 3 Remastered releasing anytime soon. Although, back in 2024, Jez Corden said that Microsoft wanted a new Fallout game out as soon as possible. All of this happening after the giant boost to the Fallout franchise from the Fallout TV show success. Internally at Microsoft and Bethesda, Fallout 3 Remastered was very likely the next Fallout project planned to release. So maybe around 2 years ago, as we saw this giant surge from the show, Fallout 3 Remastered got a big boost in resources. We only got Oblivion a year ago, so many assume the same team is going to work on the Fallout 3 remaster and they would need more time. It's only been a year. But maybe Fallout 3 was actually further along as a result of the TV show. Because if this leak is true, I can't really think of a reason Bethesda or Microsoft would be making Fallout 3 Remastered specific toys, unless this game is coming out pretty soon. It's not like you make toys years in advance for a game. For Fallout 3 Remaster, I just have to predict they're going to shadow drop it. This was an immense success for Oblivion, and Todd Howard has only spoken highly about it since then. The obvious opportunity is at this year's summer showcase, but honestly, I suspect it would drop outside of a showcase. I could see them doing exactly what they did with Oblivion as it just goes up as a video or stream one day. So to me, recent leaks make Fallout 3 Remastered seem very possible in 2026, but this doesn't seem like a game that has to be at a showcase, and I imagine wouldn't be at a showcase. Fallout has lots of anniversaries that it could drop around this year, but at the same time, it would be an epic mic drop moment to say, oh yeah, here's Fallout 3 Remastered, and you could play it right now. But in the topic of Fallout, something else that is just looming is Fallout 4's mod storage space expansion. We of course had all sorts of talks around this late last year, but things have largely been silent in 2026 outside of just a few delay notices here and there. And timing wise, we find ourselves in an interesting spot with this one. At this point, Season 2 Fallout TV show hype has completely passed us. If anything, we're closer to Season 3 starting filming than anything else. But Fallout 4's mod storage space expansion is going to be a really big update for the game. Experience-wise for players, this is huge. So I wonder if Bethesda and Microsoft are now evaluating whether or not this is worth it for a showcase moment, because it could be a really cool one. To go along with this update, we're supposed to be getting
mod
Fever
is
Dreams,
this?
this being a new free creation from King Gath Creations, the people behind Sim Settlements, Watchtower, and more. Bethesda hired King Gath Creations to make Fever Dreams, but also hired the original voice actors for Nate and Nora from Fallout 4. You know how in all of those Fallout 4 DLC-sized mods, they're forced to reuse voice lines from the existing characters? Yeah, this time around, the mod authors don't have to do that. They could record totally new voice lines for the protagonist. During my recent studio visit to Bethesda, I got to see a trailer and short presentation on Fever Dreams, and it looked awesome. It's coming totally free to Fallout 4. I'm not exactly sure on the size, but quality-wise, King Gath stuff always feels like an official DLC, and I imagine this will be a good few hours of new content. Couple that with access to way more mod space and way more modding possibilities on consoles, and all of a sudden you do have this really cool showcase moment. A ton of free content dropping for Fallout 4 that you could download and play right now. You of course know how much Todd Howard loves that statement. I have no idea when this is coming. Even at the studio visit, there was really no indication when the mod storage space expansion or even Fever Dreams would be releasing, but I definitely got the impression that they were coming at the same time, that Fever Dreams would release with the mod storage space expansion. And all of these free creations dropping on PlayStation 5 also seem like it should be happening at some point. I have to imagine they wanted to get this out last year, then wanted to get it out early this year, and then Starfield took over all of the QA, which led to it being delayed, and at this point, maybe it's just worth waiting for the showcase. And Fallout 76's next update will almost certainly be there as well. Infestations are currently in testing on the public test server and offer a nice high-level challenge for groups, but are scattered all throughout the map, so you basically find an infestation, and then call over your friends to help deal with it. It's obviously not the biggest update in the world, but Fallout 76 has basically been a mainstay of the showcase for the past 5 years or so, and I have to imagine it'll remain that way. But looking back at this Bethesda leaked roadmap, there are a few other games here that definitely are likely to pop up at the showcase, and some of these are definitely going to be surprising. This licensed IP game is very likely Marvel's Blade, being developed by Arcane Lion. Arcane was devastated by the Microsoft layoffs. Arcane Austin was closed entirely after seemingly being pressured to make Redfall into the type of game it ended up being, and since all of that went down, Arcane Lion, the devs of Blade and also Dishonored and Deathloop, have really just been quietly chugging away on this game. We haven't heard much. Blade is described as a third-person open-world action game set in Paris. But there is definitely some exciting things on the horizon. Arcane Lion's earnings report make it seem like Blade entered into full production at the end of 2024, so it feels pretty likely to pop up this year somewhere. Wolverine is coming this fall, but Blade seems decently probable as a 2027 game, assuming development's going okay. So with that in mind, it could appear at this year's game showcase with a more proper gameplay reveal, or alternatively at the Game Awards, which seems to be the other major showcase we're getting a lot of these Marvel games. Doom the Dark Ages DLC is on this leaked roadmap, and we know this is on the way. We've actually been getting updates on this over the course of 2026, as it was described as being a massive expansion for the game. The expansion is likely going to be a contained experience in a new area with new enemies specific to that area, kind of like what we had with Doom Eternal's DLCs. And we don't really know much about what it'll entail right now, but I bet it gets revealed at the showcase and should be pretty substantial. But then we have Machine Games, and oh, what is going on at Machine Games? Machine Games finds itself in a very interesting spot where we have 3 separate leaks or rumors all around different games and all sound quite interesting or cool. Perhaps the most surprising comes from the leaked Bethesda roadmap itself. Here we can see Project Platinum and Project Cash
Licensed IP game.
Kestrel. It's widely believed that Project Kestrel was the ZeniMax Online Studios MMO that was near release but cancelled last year. Platinum, on the other hand, is a bit more mysterious, but back in 2021, we got this giant database leak from GeForce Now. This leaked a ton of game code names, including a Project Platinum from Machine Games. At the time, labeled as Indiana Jones, but considering this roadmap has Indy in a different slot, I just think Project Platinum is a different game from Machine Games, and this has been in progress for a while. And this might be a very weird one. Jeff Gertzman, the same person to leak that an Xbox Fallout game was cancelled recently, and just generally an industry insider and veteran, mentioned that somebody he considers a reliable source did share some information on this game. They leaked last year that Platinum was a shooter from Machine Games akin to Rainbow Six Siege and Counter-Strike combined. It was described as having a visual style similar to the Finals, but normal, almost like the graphics were toned down so it could run on lower end hardware, and it seems like a tactical or objective shooter. The game is described as having objectives like get a key or rescue a hostage, and doesn't have single player or a deathmatch mode. They mentioned how it wasn't associated with an existing IP, but at the same time, I think this game could be Quake 6. Because during the 2024 Developer Direct, we had the Indiana Jones gameplay showcase from Machine Games, and on this whiteboard in their offices was Quake 6 written with the Quake logo next to it. In the past, Quake games have always been done by id Software, but perhaps this one is a dual development project between id and Machine Games. And I do suspect that this is what Project Platinum might be. A new Quake shooter that very well could be revealed this year, and perhaps is a bit of a twist-up, focusing more on objective gameplay, or maybe there really are just two multiplayer shooters in production at Machine Games to some degree right now. Either way, this is totally out of left field. It really sounds like a weird and experimental game, and I'm not sure what to expect from it. But that isn't all from Machine Games. We've also heard how Wolfenstein 3 is in development, with Jez Corden reporting that it's going to drop with the upcoming Amazon Wolfenstein show that's being made by the same people who make the Fallout TV show for Amazon. This is another one that could definitely pop up here. But now we are starting to get into the
I don't know why he didn't just say the soft day in that.
Territory of where it might just be too early for some of these games. The Wolfenstein show was only greenlit last summer, and no cast or filming dates have been revealed thus far, so we don't really know what the timeline looks on these. And finally, there is Indiana Jones. In late 2024, Jez Corden stated that Disney was so happy with the success of Indiana Jones that they actually wanted more games from Bethesda. So now I highly doubt we'd be getting a reveal of a new Indiana Jones game this soon, but more, this is all to say that Machine Games has quite a bit going on right now. It seems like they're very in demand, particularly after Indiana Jones ended success, and also they're getting a TV show around one of their main franchises. So they definitely could pop up this year or next year, but it seems like one of their upcoming titles might be looming. Beyond all that, Switch 2 ports have been hot for Bethesda as of late, so one of those, or maybe even two, definitely seem plausible. But as you can see, a lot of Bethesda is a bit of an unknown for this year. They could end up having one announcement and largely moving on, or stealing the show with the potential Shadow drop, or hey, maybe even the Elder Scrolls 6, although again, I would say 2027 is the safest bet for that one. But they do have a few other projects in the works that will pop up this year or next. But what I think is going to be the craziest part of this year's showcase is how much more content we should be seeing and actually playing in 2026. The Witcher 3 is over 10 years old and almost certainly getting a new expansion this year, and it's very likely it's going to get revealed the week of these showcases. CDPR is in a bit of a weird spot in that they've almost been forced to talk about this expansion due to a ton of their earnings calls and really this chart. This is an earnings incentive plan for the executives. Basically, make enough profit in this time period and the executives get a bonus. As you can see, they're behind schedule. They still have 26% of the time to go for 2026. This year's the deadline. But during some of the recent earnings calls, CDPR has said something interesting. That they think it is possible for them to hit this target because they plan to release new content this year. And considering it's a profit incentive, that content is almost certainly paid content. 26% of this total profit's actually a pretty substantial number. This time frame includes Phantom Liberty releasing, which of course made up a ton of profit on the front end. And separately, we've had CDPR confirm that Fool's Theory, a studio made up of former Witcher devs who was hired by CDPR to do the Witcher 1 remake, was also working on an unannounced project with over 100 developers on it, and the project was reportedly going very well. So that's to say, even if you don't believe some of the gaming leaks and rumors being posted online, CDPR themselves have clearly laid out to investors that something substantial is being worked on and on the way. And then you have 3 separate sources also claiming it's a Witcher 3 expansion. So yeah, I think it's safe to say we're getting a new Witcher 3 expansion this year. That is the only way they'd realistically hit this profit incentive. And this will likely get revealed either at the Xbox Showcase or Summer Game Fest. CDPR has popped up at both in the past, and in a recent earnings call mentioned how they prefer showcase reveals and releasing later on, as opposed to just a shadow drop. And with this one in particular, the clock is ticking. I really suspect it'll get revealed at a showcase, and it'll probably drop soon thereafter in late summer or early fall to avoid GTA 6. And what makes this all even crazier is that it might not be all from CDPR. I just made a full video breaking down everything going on, but CDPR has
Games can drop during GTA 6, bro. There's no online, bro. People are like mad about there not being online. They clearly don't want to play story.
revealed they have 3 other unannounced
I do.
projects even beyond this expansion being worked on right now. They confirm that 2 of these are gaming projects while 1 of them isn't, but CDPR has also made it clear that none of these things are included in this list. So they have all of this stuff on the way, but then also all of this stuff on the way. I suspect one of them is Cyberpunk 2077 mod tools. We know the Witcher 3 console modding is also coming later this year, likely with the expansion release. But I honestly don't know what else they might be cooking up. CDPR has a ton of stuff on the way, and their showcase presence is likely to be pretty large. A lot of these rumors and some of the talk around the Witcher 3's new DLC is connecting the Witcher 3 to the Witcher 4, and really how this will act almost as a marketing moment for the Witcher 4. A new DLC for the old game to actually get players in-game excited for the next one, but also likely some details in a trailer for the Witcher 4, maybe even a release date, especially if it's coming in 2027. And while we do have a good amount to look forward to from CDPR this year, we also have a lot to look forward to from former CDPR and Witcher devs. Rebel Wolves is a studio made up of former Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077 developers, and just this past week they had a massive preview of Blood of Dawnwalker, including a release date reveal of September 3rd, and if you're not aware of this game, but like The Witcher or even just open world RPGs in general, yeah, this one needs to be on your radar. The Blood of Dawnwalker is set in 14th century Europe, so you have the general battles and plague in the background, but also vampire, of which you are one. And the Blood of Dawnwalker is really big on reactivity. During the day, you're in human form, and at night, you turn into a vampire, which can totally switch up your abilities in combat. So right off the bat, you have a lot of options here. Progress a quest at day versus progress it at night for a totally distinct playstyle and opportunities for yourself, but also different circumstances during that quest, what the other NPCs might be doing. I saw some gameplay of this at Gamescom last year, and it showcased this aspect extensively. Depending on which time of day you approach something can really change up the outcomes. Because time is a major factor in this game. Actions and quests is how time of day is progressed, so it's not like it's just passing in the background. Certain things are only available at certain times of day, and of course, you could just miss stuff. You have 30 days to do the main story to save your family, otherwise they'll just die. So the time jumps are really triggered by certain actions made by you, certain milestones you'll be hitting, and all of this is based around your choices and really the world reacting to it. A huge part of this game that gets me excited is how reactive this world is described as. The Blood of Dawnwalker has a full-fledged open world with a ton of freedom of choice. You can help and save your own family in those 30 days, or instead just focus on getting revenge, take out as many people in this world as you want. A lot of the choice comes via questing, but also just in the open world interactions. Let's say you take out the blacksmith, then the forge is going to shut down. During the recent gameplay, we saw a new soldier camp that was established as a result of our actions in the area, leading to more military buildup. You're a vampire, of course, so you need to feed, but you can choose how to feed. Are you feeding on humans or animals? And if you neglect to feed, you can go feral and end up attacking your allies. Each day, they have these new edicts that are passed based off your actions and what is going on in the area generally as the vampire threat does rise, and these edicts can actually anger other vampires, making their life even more difficult, and once they get angry enough, this could open up new quests with them as they make mistakes, and even side content is opened up via this. And it really sounds like some of these side quest lines can have main quest impacts, but are also totally missable, so you don't have to do that content. The combat was updated from last year's showcase based on fan feedback, so you no longer have to open this menu constantly for abilities. Now you really can just utilize this quick menu and everything looks far more fluid. The combat's definitely Witcher-esque, with a focus on dodges, parry, but also some cool abilities mixed in. But I think the vampire twist and some of the abilities do look quite a bit of fun. You can take things slow and stealthy if you don't want that quick reactivity. But But between the Witcher 3 expansion and the Blood of Dawnwalker, Witcher fans will be feasting this year, and The Witcher 4 could very well end up popping up here as well, like I mentioned earlier. Although Xbox themselves also have two major RPGs that should be at this showcase, and both may be slated for release in 2026. And I'll be honest, for me personally, these are two of my most anticipated games this decade. Fable is confirmed and even has been reconfirmed as a 2026 title. This game will likely have a giant presence at the showcase, and it needs it because Fable is in a bit of a weird spot right now. The past developer direct showed us a ton about the game. You can fully customize your character. This really felt like a bit of a response to some of the past character appearance controversies, but they also describe and show off this majestic open world. You will start as a kid, and I imagine things are locked down early game, but they mention how it's very early that you get a proper open world experience where you can just go wherever you want. And we've seen quite a few different locales from around this world. We got to look at the major city, some of the beautiful environments that will be available, but also several of the smaller towns throughout Albion. And Fable is really all about this world and what you could do in it with the other people. So in this game, you could do things like go on dates. There's a full romance system with marriage and kids. You can go on dates with anyone. You can buy a house or buy a bunch of houses, renting those to the citizens. You could even find them going to your homes. You could evict them so you'll find them out in the street, or run businesses and try to get rich. Or alternatively, just be a relatively average person and work regular jobs trying to earn money. For this new Fable, villagers even have a life on their own. You could follow them and see their activities throughout the day, all of this being described as very Bethesda-esque in the reactivity with the people. And this game has a ton of choices even beyond that. Morality is here. People are going to care about what choices and decisions you make, but this applies both in a broad way with your character's morality, and in more specific ways. If you do things that negatively impact or positively impact one NPC, they'll remember that. And from the developer direct earlier this year, I also felt Fable's combat looked great. It's of course going to be the open world and all of these interactions that really sell you on the game, but from the gameplay we've seen thus far, the combat looks visually pretty nice. The animations and various abilities just look great to me, but things also look super snappy. Like you could quickly block and combo and have a lot of rapid control of your character. The ability wheel makes it look like it'll be relatively easy to combine melee with magic or maybe even ranged attacks, but of course we need to wait for hands-on impressions to really tell. And that's kind of the problem right now. Most people agree, from what we've seen, Fable largely looks great. The issue is we haven't seen enough of it. Some of the gameplay definitely had some performance issues, and the gameplay in general has been a lot of smaller clips like this. We haven't seen someone just playing for an extended duration, so hopefully this summer showcase could be that moment, although apparently Fable was also just delayed. Jeff Grubb said recently that Fable was delayed internally. It's still coming in 2026, but GTA 6 is a major worry. Grand Theft Auto 6 drops on November 19th, and we've seen a few reassurances that this is coming out on that date, so it seems pretty locked at this point. But after this rumor from Jeff Grubb, the Fable Twitter account reaffirmed that Fable is also dropping in 2026. This very much so feeling like a meta response. The rumors were ongoing with a lot of people just seeing the headline that Fable was delayed and then they're worried, oh, it's 2027 now. So this account posting 2026 feels like a really concrete confirmation. As of right now, all we know is that Fable is targeting a autumn 2026 release date, but to me this makes December look increasingly likely. But GTA really is a big problem. It's releasing in November, just a month before, and that could have a potentially massive impact on initial sales of Fable. So Fable will be at the showcase, but what we really are looking for is that release date and some extended gameplay, not just seeing more of the game. Hands-on impressions would of course be legendary, but who knows what Xbox has planned around that. And the other big upcoming title is Clockwork Revolution. This being the insanely reactive new RPG from an Exile that has these crazy time manipulation mechanics. During last year's showcase, we got an extended look at the gameplay of Clockwork Revolution, basically exactly what people are wanting to see from Fable. And while we don't have any kind of release timeline for this game, not even 2026 or 2027, just a few months ago, a senior writer at an Exile listed Clockwork Revolution as a 2026 title on their LinkedIn. This was then quickly changed to just being TBD, but to me, 2027, just a few months ago, a senior writer at an Exile listed Clockwork Revolution as a 2026 title on their LinkedIn. This was then quickly changed.
Why would you do that?
To just being TBD, but to me, it definitely feels like Clockwork Revolution could be a game dropping in 2026. The LinkedIn is pretty damning, but also just how much we got to see last year made it feel like this game has been fairly far along for a little while now. But at the same time, Microsoft has a lot of releases to get to, and with Grand Theft Auto 6 being such a hurdle in November, I can see it going one of two ways. Perhaps Clockwork Revolution comes relatively soon, in late summer to early fall, or maybe they just wait till next year. But one dev I am super curious about right now, and we might get some answers finally at the showcase, is Obsidian. Obsidian's in a weird spot in that they just had a ton of content come out. They were releasing games every year and even had 2 major releases last year, but then we also just heard how both Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2 didn't perform super well. Obsidian had some notable departures recently, but also some very notable additions. With John Gonzalez and Tim Kaine, some of the Fallout OGs, back at the company working on something, but apparently it's not Fallout New Vegas 2. We know The Outer Worlds 2 is set to get at least 2 DLCs, so I definitely expect to hear at least something around this at this year's showcase, although at the same time, The Outer Worlds 1 took an extraordinarily long time to get news on its DLC, so who knows what's going to happen here. But obviously Obsidian has other things going on right now, and we basically know nothing about them. 2026 doesn't really feel like it'll be the year for this. I think we'll probably just see The Outer Worlds 2, if anything. But Obsidian is a weird company in that they've had a lot of these games get announced very early on, several years before release. I think that's largely been a mistake, but they seem to just keep doing it, so who knows? Maybe we find out something. A few other titles are possibly or even very likely to be at the showcase and should actually be pretty cool, particularly if you're a fan of this channel. Metro 2039 got an early look via this Xbox First Look, and we'll likely get some kind of gameplay preview at the showcase because this game is releasing in 2026. This is another one that I would really love to see hands-on with, perhaps at Summer Games Fest. And Metro 2039 did have some leaks come out around it right after it was revealed. The story leak suggesting a character from one of the older games is returning. I'm not going to spoil it here though. And we even saw some screenshots from older builds pop up online. None of this is major, but I'll have the story leak down below as well as more of these images if you're interested. Last year, Metro sponsored me to check out Metro Awakening, their new VR game, and honestly, I found this to be a blast. Like, yeah, I was paid to cover it last year, but I'm not paid to cover it now. I still have played this periodically because it's a really fun and cool VR experience, and I think that is easy to get if you played a Metro game.
I think he's just lucky he got a good sponsorship. This game is good.
Metro in VR, yeah, it was horrifying, but created some truly memorable gaming moments. I highly recommend checking this one out if you're into VR though. It's not the longest experience, but it's definitely fun. And in a similar vein, Stalker 2 Cost of Hope is also confirmed for this summer. Stalker 2 has already had partnerships with Xbox in the past, so I would expect this expansion to get a much deeper dive in this showcase. And if you're interested in Stalker 2, get subscribed, because unrelated to the expansion, I do have a video coming. Although one final game that I just want to mention, as it definitely could pop up at one of these showcases, is Hogwarts Legacy 2. A bunch of interesting stuff has been happening around Hogwarts Legacy 2 that are getting fans pretty hyped that we might hear something this summer. Back in 2024, it was revealed to Variety that the new Harry Potter show and Hogwarts Legacy sequel would have some of their big picture story moments coordinated. So whatever happens in the show might also pop up in the game. And even more recently, just a few months ago in 2026, the Warner Bros. Gaming executive said the real fruits will start coming in 2027 to 2028 when we return to some of our biggest franchises. We know the Harry Potter show is set to drop in early 2027, so many think Hogwarts Legacy 2 is going to follow that up and release at some point later in 2027 or 2028. And what's leading many to believe a reveal of this new title will be imminent is a new community manager being hired. The new CM was just onboarded at Avalanche and did an AMA with this. One of the comments mentioned how this was a good sign for things to come, and this reply definitely gives me a feeling that something might be coming. Definitely feels like Hogwarts Legacy 2 is getting revealed this year. June feels pretty plausible, but at the same time, the Game Awards is also a very real possibility. But that said, I think if you're an RPG fan, 2026 is going to end up being a really memorable year. We have so much content on the way that even if some of this stuff ends up missing, there's still plenty of other options for people to be interested and enjoy. I really think this year's Xbox and Bethesda showcase could end up being pretty insane. And I think what makes all of this so exciting is basically every game I talked about in this video is coming out in the next year or so. Even The Elder Scrolls 6 will probably be out by the end of 2027 at the absolute latest. That is an absurd amount of new RPG games and open world content for all of us to enjoy. Earlier today, Starfield got a new update and DLC. This was a massive 20GB download on consoles and just 12GB on Steam. The majority Earlier today, Starfield got a new update and DLC. This was a massive 20GB download on consoles and just 12GB on Steam. The majority of this being the new Free Lanes update, adding in more casual space travel, but also the new Terran Armada DLC that just dropped today for Starfield. And for many of you, if you're already an owner of the Starfield Premium Edition, you should get this DLC for free. But what is easily the biggest feature of this new update is the cruise mode, available while you're traveling around in space. This allows you to travel in your spaceship to various locations within a system in space. During this, you could stand up and move around your spaceship as it flies. You can see space passing behind you, creating some seriously epic visuals that Starfield was kinda just lacking before. There is some confusion around this feature though. It unlocks only after the introductory mission, and it only works within a system. So it's not like you can go from system to system, that still requires a load screen. But otherwise, while you're just flying around in space, simply hold down a key to enter into cruise mode. And from here, you could freely fly around, and you do have speed controls and even a boost mode you could activate. To go along with this update, Starfield got a more zoomed out third-person ship view, which of course works perfectly right here. While in cruise mode, you can try to manually fly around to planets or some of the other things that pop up, but this doesn't work super well. Like, yeah, sure, you can fly around freely, you can get close to planets, and they'll even pull you in a bit with their gravity, but it's not like you could land on them, and the real interaction point is going to be via autopilot. So after you select a location in cruise mode, you can have your ship automatically fly there by turning on autopilot, and this even gives you the opportunity to stand up and walk around your ship. You can decorate or customize some of your weapons at a workbench, and a really cool thing is these interactions don't pause the cruise. So here I am literally placing down a workbench while flying in my spaceship in real time, and I'm editing some of my weapons while traveling to my destination. You can see in real time how close you are to that autopilot destination on
Signing in.
your HUD. But for better or for worse, there actually isn't much to do whilst flying around in space in Starfield by default. So the real bulk of the new gameplay from this update are going to be the new space encounters. The implementation here is a bit weird in that you just sort of have to start flying in a certain direction, or at least that's what worked best for me, and then some of the space encounters will start popping up around you. So after around 30 seconds or so of flying, you'll notice these new markers appearing. And there's going to be several types. You can find new anomalies, derelict ships, and all kinds of other things in space. There's even this nice sound effect that plays, so it's not even like you have to be seated at your ship. You could leave on cruise mode, get up and walk around, and then wait for some of these notifications to start pinging. But then lock on to whatever that thing is.
Not a game still trash.
+18 motors on. Yeah, I have to give a warning. That goes in there. I'm like, dude, this trash can's already full. Pineapple. I don't know if I've.
When did he up the
And we
boost?
throw that out. It's not a bad of that being a mixed flavor before. Yeah, Delta 9, edibles, blah, 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 lab tested, fast acting. Do they have a strain? They don't. Ugh. More and more out of ag that's like actually disintegrating as you look at mine. The weed, sure banger, 7. Doesn't taste great, but, you know, it's weed. I really don't know a strain of weed that I would give below, like, a 6. People always ask me that. Hey, I could probably actively make content while you're at the party. Like an 8-hour, let me think. But I was getting a chemically taste, and I think add 1.5. Does that do the 2 ounce blunt? That's like a comical way to celebrate 420, but it's such a waste of weed. Have y'all ever seen that shit? Like one of those 2 ounce blunts that you have to hold with 2 hands. It's like fucking hundreds of dollars of weed. This is like the most inefficient way I could be doing this. Have you ever dabbed? Once. And I hated it. People that dab are on a different level of getting high. People that dab are the people that eat, you know, they buy like a THC cake that's like 10 servings.
Renee, stop it. I'm not trying to cheat on you, baby. You know how I be, little baby. I'm trying to cheat on you, baby. But you know how I be, little baby. Mister, me and my big bro put 2 hoes in her. I did hoes. Mad at me. I fuck her in the mail if she want. I fuck her, I'm mad at bitch. So sassy, I'm so sassy. That's sweet. That bitch, you so amazing. On God, that, yeah. Tell that boy, please. I can tell that boy, by the way that he stacked. You and make him dance. It's a new world order and this bitch on the man. Who the fuck I let? Yeah, that's ladies. Nigga gonna sign to the label. She love it, she love it, she love it, she love it, she loving it. This a new world order in this bitch. I'm the man. I'm gonna find what it's Japan. It's Peter. Yeah. Mm. I can't. They're going party. I was like in the picture, the pose. Substitution. What? In my ear. Bad bitches, peasant sauce that come here. I just did my fucking edges. I'm bad. Yeah. I'm bad. Yeah. Purple swag. I got purple drink. I got. Listen, nigga say burn his fishy. Oh, oh. I'm like, how they go? I go to first one.
It's okay. Be honest. Be honest. My face is shiny because I'm Nigerian. Stop asking me why my face is shiny, guys. Okay? Be honest.
Did I say that?
Be honest.
I hope she's not seeing this. What a bitch I
I'm
get
looking
like
for
in
what my
my
video topic for
B-Day.
today is.
I got drinks, nigga. What you in that plate, nigga? Her hair so fast, that ain't deep. Talk about date, nigga.
Epsteinian buzzwords, okay? Epsteinian buzzwords. I have formulated a collection of terms and also buzzwords that have circulated specifically on the Big Brother app, also known as Slop Talk, that I believe is a part of the memetic warfare agenda led by founders like Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Thiel. I'll go through the list. Number 1, corny, formerly known as cringy. Number 2, performative. I used to kind of like this one too. Number 3, I guess, bro. I guess, bro. I'm looking at you.
She can't be looking at me. I've said that so many times. Bro, can people stop finding my shit when I react?
I'm looking at you. And finally,
Fuck.
it's just blank. It's just music, bro. It's just a video, bro. It's just a movie, bro. Okay?
This is about to be the worst Sesh ever, bro.
And here's what I wrote. I said, you are unknowingly participating
Lip
in
balm.
propaganda known as the Epstein agenda. This agenda is very simple: to make us all stop thinking. Inadvertently, this would allow the cycle to continue.
Ooh. My fault. You know what I'm saying? We got that lip balm.
This is what allows him to get away with eating kids. So
What?
let's start off from there. I think I set us up pretty well. I think there is an agenda going on, especially online, that is trying to make the human population the most advanced intelligent species on the earth to the state, setting aside AI, to stop thinking, to stop pushing things deeper. I mean, what kind of analysis is it's not that deep? I mean, what's the goal of that kind of statement? It's to make you stop thinking about something, to put it away, to not peel back layers when everything has layers. I mean, what did Shrek say? He's an onion. I'm an onion. So are we. We're all.
When I say it's not that deep, I'm talking relativity, buddy. It's not as deep as you think. It's as deep as I think, buddy.
Little onions walking around on this earth. Everything has layers, including every single thing that we think, every single thing that we talk about, the reasons why we talk about the things that we talk about. There's always a reason, okay? I'm a determinist, guys. Everything has a cause. So when something sounds or smells fishy, it's probably a little bit fishy. Everything in this reality is by design because we are constantly creating this reality together. It's not mystical. It's just that we have these brains, these, psychological machines inside of our heads that are constantly relaying information between each other. Have you ever heard of this thing called implicit bias? Lovely sirens outside, aren't there? I'm gonna wait a little bit. How's your day?
And this shit start, bro. This bitch dirty, bro. Chill. And this shit start. We got no hoes, we hugging every day, we hugging the hoes every day.
Mine's been good. I'm on a generational run, if you haven't heard. I'm on a generational run, so that's been nice. Anyway, have you ever heard of this thing called implicit bias? I wrote my college admittance essay. On implicit bias. And essentially, implicit bias is the unconscious stuff inside of your head that makes you like or dislike certain groups or people. A good example is like beauty standards. You weren't born liking blonde.
Have I ever been to a state? Nah, bitch is probably the best.
Blonde hair or blue eyes or whatever you like, The reason why you like the people that you like, the reason why you're attracted to them is due to it's a couple things, but it's a lot of things. Specifically, media is a great example. When you're a little kid and when you're first formulating your ideas about who is a romantic interest, what that romantic interest looks like, that's going to be based off of media. And when every single girl in your TV show wants to be blonde-haired and blue-eyed, you begin to start thinking something about blonde hair and blue eyes, that thing, those traits are attractive. Okay? The same thing when you're walking on the side of the road and your mom sees a black dude coming your way, and she takes your hand, grasps it tight, and crosses the street.
What the fuck? My camera My mom never did that. They just gotta look weird. They don't gotta be black.
Brain picks up on all these little things. Your brain is like a sponge, and it's unconsciously sucking up a bunch of stuff all the time. You know, when you walk down your neighborhood, down the street, and you enter, let's say you're in the suburbs, and you're walking through your suburbs, and then you cross a certain road, and suddenly the houses don't seem so well built anymore. And suddenly you see people of a different skin tone walking around. You begin to pick up this data because we are machines at the end of the day. Our brains are machine-like, constantly
just because I want to profile people doesn't mean I did that subconsciously.
consuming data and producing a reality for us to analyze, whether you like it or not. So when you say this whole "it's not that deep" thing, you can say what you want, but it doesn't mean that it's factual. In fact,
True.
Our brains are constantly consuming these slight little things that you hear online, that you see every day, the way that people react to people and ideas and culture, everything, right? Everything's making an impact on you. You know, there's this thing called groupthink in psychology. Have you taken a psychology class? If you're on TikTok, I'm guessing not.
I'm not on the fucking TikTok. Did she clip her own shit? Why would she say that?
And basically, groupthink is a phenomenon where
she know damn well she posted this on YouTube first.
When multiple people express an idea
I'm geek.
about a certain thing,
So geek.
people are more likely to accept that idea, even if they don't necessarily agree with it. When people see a consensus forming amongst a group, they begin to bandwagon. The term bandwagon, for example, someone who hops on a train of liking or disliking something because everyone else is doing it. Humans are attracted to other human energy. We like to, you know, walk around.
It's pretty homoerotic. Nothing wrong with being homosexual. That's homoerotic. Very different.
Think in groups, okay? And so when somebody is a streamer, for example, and they're prosecuted for beating their pregnant wife,
who the fuck? Isn't that was it a streamer?
And someone gets into that streamer's comment section with 10,000 people in
That wasn't a streamer?
there and says, hey, this guy beat his wife, and you say it's not that deep. Congrats, buddy. You're normalizing that behavior. You're simply...
That was not a streamer. She's talking about a rapper. No streamer beat their pregnant wife recently.
professing an idea that aims to make people stop thinking, to stop understanding reality as it is. Okay, congrats. That's exactly how it works. It doesn't matter how deep you want it to be. Everything is always and always has been that deep. Now, how does this tie to Epstein? I mean, let's start with the label conspiracy theorist, right? Conspiracy theorists have been known as people who are loony and crazy for not being able to live in this reality as it is, for not being able to consume and accept the reality that we live in as it is, for questioning and thinking.
That's not the problem with conspiracy theorists, bro. Once you believe in one conspiracy theory, you believe in all of them, but that's just lame. Nobody want to talk about conspiracies with you all.
Deeper than what is told. You know, someone who's a critical thinker doesn't just accept everything that is. Doesn't just accept.
You're thinking linearly, though.
Everything that they're told. Does not
You could have just said that.
just, you know, take an information.
There's linear thinking, critical thinking, and like a scientist, like you're thinking exponentially.
And
Like a physicist.
accept it as it is because everybody else is doing it. They ask questions. Possibly they theorize. And this label, right, was used to, you know, condemn people like QAnon. And I'm not sitting here and saying that all QAnon people are right about everything. They have the greatest political takes in the world, but they were right about a huge thing about our government that is still going unchecked and overlooked, right? essentially the term conspiracy theorist was
After recently, I was like, I would work for like, I wouldn't be a cop, but I was like, I would work for like CIA or some shit. They let background check type shit. But now, actually, CIA is pretty safe. I wouldn't be like a scientist.
in a way it functioned as the it's not that deep of the 2010s, and it worked for a long time. People dismissed these claims about the uber wealthy until finally the system had to say it out loud for us because they were pushed into a corner because they had no choice. Are those people still corny? I don't know. You know, like, you are actively a part of the agenda when you, the human, relays the same kind of comments that a memetic warfare or CIA agent would be in a TikTok comment section. Because let's face it, they exist. Look it up. The government has been participating in the dead internet theory for years. The government has been getting onto fake accounts with false profiles to propagate different messaging.
Allegedly.
Because they understand the phenomenon of groupthink. They understand that when a lot of people accounts now online message the same thing, you know, agree on the same takeaway from a scenario, from a story, that the Jeffrey Epstein case is now memeable, that people will hop on that bandwagon. And when you say it's not that deep, you're just like them. Except it's more sad and more corny because you're an actual person. You're not a bot, but you're an actual person who's submitting to Jeffrey Epstein on his knees. You're on your knees like a little you know what, bruh. Like, why don't you want us to think anymore? I don't get it. What does that serve to you? Like, why do you want to submit to the system so badly? Does it scare you what might be? Because fear, why are you submitting to fear then? You know, why are you letting fear rule you? Fear and the Epstein class rules you when you submit to these Epsteinian talking points. Like, it's not that deep. And that feeling things makes you performative. You know, we're stripping the meaning out of words, man. When someone expresses themselves in human emotion, suddenly you cancel that out, right? Suddenly that needs to be rejected with terms like performative. Everything, if all human emotion is a performance, then what are humans but vessels, but machines and robots? Like, some of you guys don't want us to feel the full range of human emotions anymore. You want us to stay at apathy and irony, and I don't get that, bro. I have to assume that you're a bot. I have to assume that you're one of the CIA agents on my page because it's ridiculous. As soon as someone brings up a critical thought, a critical point of thinking, you shut it down. Why? Why is that your defense mechanism? What's going on with you, bro? Why are you an agent of Epstein? What are the other ones I wrote down? I keep forgetting. Not everything is corny. Not everything needs to be dismissed with an I guess, bro. Some things are real. Some things are important for good reason. Because before you know it, if Peter Thiel gets what he wants, he's gonna be forcing a brain chip in your head. And what now? Will it be that deep then? Like, I don't get it. Do you track what's going on? Do you follow? Why do you think the CEO of an AI company is backing a 20-year-old looksmaxer who injects him?
He's from the J, bro. Like, we're lit, bro. Clive is from the J. That's why Peter Thiel is investing in
himself with steroids and
from Hoboken, bro. Who from Hoboken doesn't want to be backed by Peter Thiel, bro? Some niggas just ride bikes across the fucking bridge to go to New York every day, bro.
And seizes on the street every other day. Who doesn't care about his livelihood.
Damn, that's what happened. They never invited him to ride bikes across the bridge, so he started fucking, I almost said pegging. He started pinning.
Who only cares about maxing his exterior.
While his interior is very shallow. Honestly, he just needs to stop doing drugs and he can max out his mental attributes.
Comfortable with cutting open his body for optimization. What does that sound like? It sounds like how a cyborg lives. Now, when the guy who's backing him says that his goal for humanity is transhumanism, what do you think? Like, what are you thinking in your head? When does it become that deep? When does it become that deep, bro? And when is emotion not a performance? When is it that I can cry or laugh and it can just be human? I don't understand you guys. I don't understand why you're so hell-bent on pushing this agenda that serves to destruct you. If you hate yourself, hate yourself.
I'm glad Xena's pretty because people would not click on this shit. Besides me, bro.
By yourself. Stop pushing it out, especially on my page, bro.
I'd be the only one watching.
It's ridiculous. I don't know what you're doing. It's sad and really ugly, to be completely frank with you. I feel like I need to start doing therapy sessions with my TikTok comment section half the time. Some of y'all are great, but some of you really, really need to get it together. It's ridiculous.
So heady.
There's egg
I'm heady as fuck, bro.
on your face, bro. Stop with the Epsteinian buzzwords and
Not that deep, bro.
terms. In Jesus' name.
It is.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so I'm making this video because I have this hot take that I did not realize was as hot of a take as it is until I saw the responses to it. And also, you know, all my takes are very extreme, but hear me out. I think we should shame adults in their 20s who live with their parents a lot more. Now, let me water it down for you a little bit so it comes across a bit more agreeable. I don't think staying with your parents in your 20s should be nearly as normalized as it is. Now, why is that, BRS? Because I think we are rewarding media.
Oh, no, we have to be pushing out you should be stacking your bread. You know what I'm saying? But bro, it's so easy to stack bread with a job that niggas think they're actually stacking bread.
Mediocrity. Before you start going crazy,
Not a career with a salary, like a part-time job, and you're fucking 35 talking about saving, doing 70-30.
yes, I will address certain arguments against what I'm saying. I'm just getting this out right now. Because the overall point of this video is mindset is everything, right? So I feel like there's a lot of people who have these bad mindsets that society keeps reinforcing, okay? I feel that way about manifestation culture. This whole I don't chase, I attract, not even.
Nigga, that shit's not real, bro. You can't manifest without working.
When it comes to dating, but I mean from the sense of these things, oh, I want this life for myself.
When did he go back in this room? It's just different camera angle.
I just gotta attract it. You know, I feel
That's
the
good
original
art.
concept of manifestation has kind of been bastardized into these people who don't want to put in the work to get these things. And with the whole staying with your parents, for one, I want to say people very close to me in my life live with their parents, right? And I still respect those people. My older sister is living with my mom right now as we speak. You know what I mean? So it's I'm not saying these are bad people or anything like this, but I'm just saying I feel like it's not the best mindset to promote. But the one argument against that I will accept
This thing is
as
way
not being
older than me,
horrible
though.
is when people are oh, you get to stack more money that way. You get.
Yeah, bro, that's what I was saying. If you're just being a nuisance, you can't do that and just be partying.
To get to earn more. And it's okay, fine. Now, mind you, not really fine, because I feel an important part of growing up is moving out of the house. And I feel when you stay in your own house, it's kind of, I feel you're missing out on important development if you're staying in that house for into your 20s. But the mindset of
What, saying no to drugs?
oh, you can stack more money that way. Understandable. Okay. That's not the kind of person I'm talking about here. The kind of person I'm talking about, and the person that made me make this video, is in this economy, you can't. It can't
Oh,
be done.
hell no.
Expecting a 20-year-old.
Oh, hell no. In this economy, go into debt if you want to move out, bro. Fuck it.
To move out of their parents' house is crazy. This is my issue with people, because I've been going on back and forth on Twitter, and I'm seeing where these people's minds are. For one, the first thing I want to address is there are people calling me privileged. For one, staying with your parents as a grown-ass adult,
That's privilege.
I feel it doesn't get more privileged than that. And that really bothers me is they're trying to tell me that this is a rich kid take, which is going to factor in, all of this is going to factor into the main point of the video. But they're telling me it's a rich kid take, and I'm I'm literally just telling you to be independent. And for context, in case you didn't know, I grew up in a house, single mother of 3, low income. My mom at multiple times had to work multiple jobs to like keep us afloat. Did not come from money whatsoever, except my grandfather in Nigeria does have a lot of money, but he does not share that shit. Okay. Like basically my uncle asked him for money one time and he told him to get a job. And then he's like, Dad, I have a job. And mind you, my uncle at this point in time, 3 kids. So he's like, Dad, like I have a job. And he said, then get 2 jobs. And he said, I do have 2 jobs. He said, then get 3. He was not giving that nigga anything. But anyways, my point is, so for all these people making these arguments where it's like, oh, like you don't understand people's financial situations. I grew up in a low 2 jobs. Mind you, in Nigeria does have a lot of money, but he does not share that shit. Okay. Like basically my uncle
Get a job.
asked him for money one time and he told him to get a job. And then he's like, Dad, I have a job. And mind you, my uncle at this point in time, 3 kids. So he's like, Dad, like I have a job. And he said, then get 2 jobs. And he said, I do have 2 jobs. He said, then get 3. He was not giving that nigga anything. But anyways, my point is, so for all these people making these arguments where it's like, oh, like you don't understand people's financial situations. I grew up in a low income household and I got out of that low income household. My thing with these people is I provide them a solution to the problem and a solution they never really argue against, because their whole thing is, oh, the economy, like nobody at that age would be able to get a job that would be able to like support their cost of living fully at that age. And there's a couple things with that for me.
No, that is true. I be seeing niggas try to. Yeah, it's so sad, man. I be I see niggas try to move out. Why is the roommate the first option, bro? You cannot trust our generation. You are gonna be paying 75% of the rent, bro. You have to move out by yourself.
Like for one, assuming this person isn't going to college, which a lot of these people seem to be just implying that this person is not going to college. But if this person isn't,
Oh, no college. Deadass. If I dropped out of college, I would just like move out and be homeless. I don't know.
going to college, right? And you're like, they can't get a job that would be able to fully support themselves, like at that point.
But with health insurance, probably lit.
When is that job
Homeless with health insurance? Nah.
gonna magically come along? Genuinely
Roommates suck. They'd have to be like 30.
ask. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're saying like, oh, you know, they're gonna start, you know, flipping fries at Burger King, and then eventually they're gonna get promoted to manager. Then they'll be able to support themselves, which I know you're not saying. Like, it sounds like maybe a plan should be put in place for you to be able to get one of these jobs where you can support yourself. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm not talking about people who genuinely have a plan, right? Like where it's like, okay, you know, I'm here right now, you know, I'm working, blah, blah, blah. By this time next year, I'm gonna be out, right? Like that's different. That's far different. I'm talking about I'm staying with my mommy and daddy indefinitely. That's what I'm talking about. Like if you have an active plan that is in motion, right, and there's a reasonable time frame, you're obviously not who I'm talking about. But again, my point is, it's like if you're telling me that this person won't be able to find a job that pays high enough, when do you expect that job to magically come? And I'm not gonna lie, if I'm really strict here, I think you should have had a fucking plan when you knew eventually you were going to graduate high school. Like personally, I'll get to how I was raised later, but the concept of like, oh, yep, I'm just going to graduate high school and I'll just keep living here. I don't think that should be something that we accept. And things, I'm not even finished here, but like, do you see how when I say it's a mindset thing, like these kinds of concepts are a mindset thing, in the difference between how I'm thinking versus how these people are thinking? My other thing with that argument is though, and this is my main thing, say again, for some reason you were in high school and you had not even a tentative plan of what you were going to do. You graduate, say around the age of 18, get a minimum wage job. Again, like I'm giving the worst scenario, okay? Assuming that you did not get a job before 18. And again, this is me like assuming the worst, right? Like you for some reason you didn't get a job before you were 18, but like you also didn't have plans with like, you know, going somewhere. So you wait until you're 18 and the only jobs you can find are minimum wage, okay? You pick up that minimum wage job. Maybe pick up 2 minimum wage jobs. Don't you think by the time you turn 20, you could have saved up enough to get an apartment? And that's assuming you can't just find roommates to split rent with, which would make the whole thing a lot easier. Dude, I remember one time this woman told me that her rent is $500. So if you can get a roommate or 2 or 3, you might just be able to just raw dog that minimum wage job. Keyword might, yes, it does depend where you live. But as you guys know, I live in Los Angeles, right? I moved to Los Angeles, which I will bring up that move a bit later. So I was apartment hunting. I know how much rent costs in a place where rent is known to be high. You can find a place for under 2 bands. I don't even just mean like shacks, like, you know what I mean, where it's super run down. You can find a decent place for under 2 bands, meaning the rent, obviously. But it's like if you are working those, I mean, either that 1 minimum wage or 2 minimum wage jobs from the age of 18 to the age of 20, you would be able to get a place like that. And again, you should should have this plan in motion to find a way to get this higher paying job that, again, that they're saying is so elusive, which the job market is bad, I hear. So yeah, I get. My point is you can make it shake, right? And again, I said under 2 bands, that's assuming that you're not getting a roommate. And I was talking about Los Angeles, and it's like, I know most of the people I'm interacting with on the internet, chances are they're not all living in Los Angeles or New York. Like, dude, I remember just for shits and giggles, I was looking at places in Alabama. Bruh, if you live in Alabama, I don't even want to hear you have this conversation with me, bro. Genuinely, bro, I think it was straight up like 3 digits for like a 1 bedroom. And I'm like, are you serious? But my main point is, do you see how easily I came up with that plan? Like, that's not even my situation. Not even close to my situation, right? But I'm like, oh, like, it makes sense like that. That's not a foreign concept. People do shit like that all the time. There are people who started working in high school and saved money for when they graduated. Because there are people who obviously their parents don't let them stay with them after they graduate. But the thing is, when I bring up that plan, bro, there is not a single person on that app who said anything to me that wasn't straight ad hominem. I remember they were like, oh, like you're low IQ on purpose. They were like, oh, like shut the F up. Like there were all sorts of that, right? All sorts of insults. Not one person was like, oh, well, that's actually not a feasible plan because blah, 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 blah. They know it would work. They know that I just gave them the formula, but they don't want to accept it because then they'll have to confront the fact that they're like, man, I have just been letting mediocrity slide. And not in response to that, but I've seen someone say like, oh, like you shouldn't have to work 2 jobs to support yourself. And I'm like, if you're not working 2 jobs to support yourself, then what are you doing in your free time? If it is really that critical for you, where you know you sure as hell can't support yourself off 1 job, what are you doing in the meantime? Are you going out partying? You're going clubbing? But you're living paycheck to paycheck, and not even like solid paycheck to paycheck. Like you're living like bad paycheck to paycheck, and you're going out partying. Like what are you doing? Like that's my issue with these people. I'm like, if I'm in a situation where I'm living with my mother, right, and I'm like, okay, I definitely need to move out at some point in time. I would spend all my time working. Like, what else is there to do? And I'm being so serious right now, like genuinely. Like, bro, if I was in that situation,
Didn't this nigga go to school? Oh, he's dorming. That's bad debt. That's bad debt.
I would be working as much as I could. Like, bro, I was, and look, you know, I know people
That is bad debt. It don't matter. It's cool.
don't see
Manage.
content creation as like a quote unquote real job. Even myself, I always say like I never had a real job. But when I was in a situation, right, I was living in Pennsylvania, and a lot of you were here for this. Okay, actually, a lot of you probably were. Anyway, point is, I was living in Pennsylvania, right? I wanted to move to Los Angeles, right? This was known information. I didn't just want to, and this is me even being greedy as a person. I was like, I don't want to just live in like any apartment complex. I don't want a 1 bedroom. I don't want a studio. I want a 2 bedroom apartment in like a nice complex. And at the time where I had that thought, there was no way I would have been able to afford it. At that time, and I wasn't making bad. I wasn't like stringing myself along back then. Like I was door dashing every day. I was buying Rick Owens. Like, you know, I was decent money wise, but it wasn't enough for me to, you know, maintain that lifestyle and live in Los Angeles. And also just getting approved for an apartment complex. Like, bro, you got to make like 3 times the rent. So yeah, I knew I had to get my money up. And if you were there, you remember what I did. I posted daily on YouTube. I streamed every day. I posted 9 TikToks every day because mentally I couldn't do anything else. Like what? I'm like, I know I don't want to be here right now. So what am I? I'm gonna go out and I'm be like out there like at a bar being like, man, I could be recording right now, so I could go to a place where I actually want to be. Like I legitimately could not think of another way to spend my time. And again, I know there's always the people where it's like, oh, like you just get in front of a camera and press record. Look, don't even get me started on that. It's one of those things where it's like people who do it understand the difficult. People who do it at a level where it is their job understand the difficulty of it. And many people who don't, unfortunately, do not. But my point is, you see how I gave them that plan where I'm like, okay, yeah, like if I was in a situation where, you know, I'm 18 and for some reason I had no plan after I graduated high school. And again, when I say plan, I don't mean people's plans always, there's always a switch. Like, dude, I was not planning on doing this when I was in high school. But I mean something to make sure that you're progressing in life. You know what I mean? And something that would at least hold you over in the short term.
Have a fucking, I don't even know, geek. A hustle?
Like, you see what I'm saying? I gave people this plan off just the top of my dome, right? And they were just like, no, I hate you. Someone commented, they were like, oh yeah, like this is a privilege take. I'm like, I'm privileged for telling you to get a job? Like, bro, the whole like, oh my gosh, jobs suck memes are so played out right now, bro. These get to the point where y'all are actually scared of getting a job. And also with that, and I think I probably said this before, but it's like, what's more privileged than staying with your parents? That's the most privileged thing I've ever heard of. And I'm telling you, these are the kinds of people to not achieve things and pretend that they don't know why. Literally, like they're telling me that the problem is, you know what, I can't afford to move out of my parents' house. And I'm like, why don't you get 2 jobs for a couple years and save up money until you can move? And they acted like I just shot them in the face. And again, I'm saying 2 jobs, but 1 job and saving the money could do the trick, bro. But it's like I can't fathom being in a situation like that and not getting 2 jobs. And I say that as someone, y'all might hate this, as someone who's never had a job, which I feel like adds important texture to it, but it doesn't take away. Okay, hear me. Like, I hate the concept of working an actual job. The concept of going somewhere, having a boss, like that, it's genuinely horrifying to me. Okay, but I'm telling you, if I was in a situation where that's what needed to get done, I would do it. Now, mind you, not now after being a creator, because there's kind of like when you're a creator on the internet, like I feel like if I went from this to like a regular job, I would get shame. I couldn't handle the shame. You know, I take myself out of the game before that happened. But you know what I mean? And the thing is, I've never had a job, but it's like I know discipline. Like I was a Division I athlete. Like I know about having to wake up early at times, have these meetings that you don't want to go to, barely get any sleep. So it's like I understand the concept of what I would be sacrificing there. Particularly because even like physically, like that's much more of a sacrifice than most jobs usually are. But harkening back to that experience, which was a bad experience to me, if I had to do that again to like make ends meet and live my life and advance myself, I would do it in a heartbeat. There's not even a choice. It's not even a discussion.
Unrelated.
The problem is, you know, when people say failure is not an option, these people are allowing failure to be an option. I've talked to so many women where they live with their parents and they're like not asking me for advice, but they're like venting to me, right? And like, you know, when you're kind of like venting and like kind of you're asking for like input on a situation, but it's more so conversational. Like it's not like, hey, like help me, you know what I mean? But I'm talking to these women, they're like, man, like I really want to live on my own. Like I want to be financially independent. Like I don't want to rely on my parents. Da, 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 da. Like they tell me those things. And this can sound like I'm glazing myself, but I've been in situations where they ask me like how I do it, right? Which not gonna lie, I don't even know how to articulate what they're asking me how, but like essentially like how I'm not living with my mom, or just generally like how I've made like a way for myself. And I tell them the same thing every time. I'm like, when you're thinking about the concept of living with your parents, you have to view it as not even a thing that can happen, right? And obviously that's much harder to do when you're there. But like in that situation, say like from a year from now, like you living with your parents, not even an option. Like that has to be worse than dying to you. And look, you're watching this right now. I'm sure it sounds dramatic. It sounds extreme, but I'm telling you,
That's how I feel about blue collar.
this is how it works. When you
Manual labor. Fuck. Nigga like the blue palette light, you weak.
take away something as an option, right? When something is the worst possible thing to you, rather than, man, it's like, I don't want to be in this situation, but like, I get. That's when you are able to solve problems. And I'm telling you, please take this into your life with anything. If you don't want something to happen, be like, okay, it literally can't happen. If this happens, I essentially die. Your mind is a powerful thing. You will then find ways to persist. The first analogy I can think of off the top of my head is like, you ever see a dog with only 3 legs? Like it lost its leg. It was either born without it or just some accident happened. And you see they walk, they're going to town walking with only 3 legs as opposed to other dogs who have 4. You know why they're able to do that so well? Because them having a 4th leg is not an option. It's not an option. It's not a choice. You know what I mean? Like they're not making a decision to walk the way that they're walking. They're simply making a decision to walk. Like if you take away the option of failure, you will operate at a level you didn't know was possible. But the problem with these people is they know, I can live with my parents and I'll be fine. Like I'll be relatively comfortable. Like it may not be my favorite place, but like, yeah, it's fine. And it doesn't help that in society. Like again, we're telling these people that like, oh, it's okay. Like the economy, da, 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 da. And again, I'm not saying we need to execute people who live with their parents. Okay. Like I understand the economy is an issue. The problem is it's like we keep like patting them like, oh, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And that's why they don't get out of the situation. Like, let me tell you how I was raised. Okay. My mom, she was very protective. I wouldn't consider her strict, right? Like I could talk to my mom about anything. Like she never hit me or anything like that. So I don't want you to think like I had some drill sergeant mother, because I did not. For one, she told us we were all going to college, right? Like it was not an option. If you were raised in that house, you were going to college. And it wasn't even in like a do or die sense. Like it was just like a foregone conclusion. Like everyone in the house, we're going to college. And she also made it clear she couldn't afford to put us through college. So we had to get scholarships and or jobs. My sisters both got jobs, ended up going to college. I did not get a job, but of course I went to college. Like if you were to ask me when I was like 13 years old, would I get a full ride scholarship to college? I would have said yes. And when I tell you that's not me manifesting it, it wasn't like, oh, I really hope it, I'm gonna speak it into existence. It was literally me being like, yeah, like that's what's gonna happen. And I always get a lot of slack because people are just like, oh, well, you know, you're 6'6", 6'7". You were gonna get a scholarship either way. Da, 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 da. Nigga, I worked hard as shit. I was working out every day. I was going to the gym every day. I would go to the weight room before fucking practice. And it was not something that was a decision I was making. Like that was just, I'm like, what else could I possibly do? Like I said earlier, where I'm like, if I was in a situation where I'm staying with my mother and I want to move out, what else would I do other than like get a job? Like I couldn't even think of other things to do. You know what I mean? And it ended up paying off. I got scholarship. Now hear me out. I don't want to sound like I'm being like 10 like level a million mind over matter, like you can just like do anything, you know what I mean? Like that's not what I'm saying. Like obviously like there are times where you may fall short even with like the perfect mindset, but I'm telling you that mindset is going to get you much farther than not having that mindset. Also, little fun fact, my father abandoned me. Obviously that's not the fun fact, I think you guys knew that already, but I remember
We did.
my father
We did.
like when I was around like that
nigga was mean, bro. All these stories, bro.
like late high school age, he kind of like spun back a bit, and I think my mom kind of like told him, like, I think there was like a class where I got like a bad grade on a test. And mind you, at this point I had already I have multiple scholarships at this point, right? Like I'm deciding where I want to go, but I think my dad might have been under the impression that like I might be like failing out of school, which I was always a great student. Like that just simply was not the case. But yeah, it was just like one test I had an issue with. But anyways, he called me and he told me, he was yelling at me about it, and he was like, yo, like, you're gonna get out of your mother's house. Like, he was like, when you graduate, he's like, you're either gonna go to college, the military, or we're gonna put you in prison. And the prison part, whenever I tell the story, people always are like, what? Like, what does he mean he'd put you in prison? Long story short, my family, that side of the family has a lot of connection. And I'm not gonna say too much, but just essentially, if my dad if my family decided like I should be in prison, they could put me in prison. Now, mind you, I don't think they could put me in prison like here. Like I would have had to physically go there for them to put me in prison there. So yeah, people's things are always like why would you, like, does he think that you would just like let him put you in prison? Like you would like go there and agree to it? And I'm like, I don't know what he thought, but like he was definitely talking. And theoretically, he definitely had the means to put me in prison. And the funny part is like my dad, like he is not strict. He abandoned me obviously, but like he's been in my life more recently. He is not like a strict parent. That he just had that like one moment. So yeah, I don't know what's up with him. But again, see, he also has that mindset clearly. But I mean, it's not necessarily like I needed that because I had that mindset. Like regardless. Plus, the point is I was going to college anyways. Like this was a known thing. So yeah, anyway, my dad's an interesting guy. Love him. But anyway, point about the mindset, right? But again, like I said, sometimes you will fall short. Like I had the same mindset in college. Like in college, you couldn't have told me that I wasn't going to the
short stream,
the NFL until I had to medically retire. Like literally, like every day, like I was like, okay, one day it's gonna
rant tomorrow at like 6.
click, and it's gonna be so great. Like when I finally become good, like obviously I was working at it, but I'm like when I finally like put everything together, like it's gonna be so satisfying. I'm gonna be able to tell the story about how I was so ass at first. You know, everyone was like laughing at me and like making fun of me and like essentially being really mean to me. Man, that's really sad, isn't it? Like I was like, I can't wait for that day. I was living for that day, man. That day never came. Okay, so what I'm talking about isn't necessarily like a foolproof thing. However, I will say getting to the NFL is much more difficult than moving out of your parents' house.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's remember that this is a pretty like simple thing that I'm asking of some people. But it's like I just need you guys to understand the value of the mindset, because the thing is, it's like I tell people this, right? Because again, like people like ask me about things. I'm like, you just have like failure cannot be an option in a very literal sense. But and they'll say like, oh yeah, I see what you mean, and they won't see what I mean. Like they won't do it. You know what I mean? Like there was a woman I had that conversation with, and then like a couple weeks later we were having the same conversation. I'm just like, I don't know how some people can't get it. And I don't understand how there's not more people who fear failure. You know what I mean? In that sense. Because like I said, I do think moving out of the house is genuinely an important thing for you to do as a human being. Like just point blank period. However, yes, there is a pride aspect. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say pride is completely unimportant or of paramount importance, okay? But pride means something. Like you have to want more for yourself, right? And I feel like that's also part of the issue, is that people don't actually want more themselves. I don't know if they don't think they deserve it. Personally, I think I deserve the world, and I won't be content until I have the world. Now, some people would say that may be a bit of a harmful mindset for somebody, but I think that's the mindset that gets people to get things done. Like, I don't know if I mentioned to you guys before, but like I have kind of been taking a little break from content, which is ironic because I've still been putting out like a decent amount of content, but this month I haven't been like grinding out recording or anything like that. Like I've got everything I've been posting is low-key just been like for shits and like this video, like I just want to make this video. Like this month is just like straight up for fun, because dude, I had a very stressful time, right? So I had to take just a little bit of a mental siesta. But nearing the end of the siesta, you know, I'm able to unwind and be like, okay, like I want to achieve more. You know what I mean? Like I'm definitely not satisfied. I'm not gonna sit here like a fat cat. And again, starting like the first of the month is like when I really have like this grind start in mind. You know, I'm gonna grind. I'm gonna turn into that mindset of like, what else could I possibly be doing right now? Now, mind you, I'm probably gonna fuck around with the hose, because fucking around with the hose is part of my job if you really think about it. But overall, I'm not gonna be sitting around, not gonna be doom scrolling. You're probably gonna see me on Twitter a bit less. And there are definitely other things where I'm not gonna mention them verbatim yet, but I gotta step outside my comfort zone a little bit, content-wise. Now, with that being said, I'd rather be in the loop of grinding out content when I do step out that comfort zone, because the thing is, I'm not gonna lie, when you're grinding, when you're really actually grinding, bro, there's kind of like a high that comes from it. So everything's kind of like hazy, but in a fun way. But my point is, and again, you can apply this to any aspect of life, bro. The formula is always there, and we know what it is, right? We know there's a formula. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, okay, I want to level up. What do I need to do? I need to buy a new camera. I need to buy new lights behind the camera. So I did that, right? And then I know I'm gonna have to record more, so I will record more. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can't like not do that for whatever reason and then be mad at the concept of that concept existing, right? And what I'm talking about here is like when I'm telling these people where they're like, oh, like no one can move out at 20, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, if you got 2 jobs and you saved the money, surely after a year or 2, you would be able to move out. And they're getting mad about it. And again, they're not telling me what's wrong with the formula. They're telling me that they're not even telling me anything really, but they're telling me that they just don't like the formula. And the thing is, it genuinely doesn't matter if you like it, okay? Because you should like failing far less. You know what I mean? Like oh my gosh, there's so many, when I was going daily for like that long period of time, was it earlier in the year or was it like last year? Actually, it was probably around, I think it was around this time last year. But when I was going daily, when I was posting 9 TikToks a day, there was part of me where I'm just like, oh, man, I would love to just take a couple days off. But you know what I wouldn't have loved? Having to live in Pennsylvania for another year, okay? And that's what reminded me. And the thing is, when you actually build habit with it and you're constantly doing it, you end up loving it, I'm telling you. It reminds me of like when I eat really clean, right? Like when I eat like just straight like vegetables, tofu, fruit, like no like super processed like sauces or like, you know what I'm saying? Like no junk. When I tell you, I end up fiending for like fruit. Fiending for like, man, I want some broccoli right now. Because I'm telling you, bro, your body in like your subconscious mind wants you to be successful, okay? But you have to consciously want that for yourself. So it's like when you do these things, they feel good because deep down, you know that's what you want. You know you want what doing this leads to. So you have enjoyment out of that. But y'all get so stuck on like the surface level, like, like I'm tired, like I'm hungry, man. Like I don't want to lift this bar up. And that right there is like 95% of what holds people back from doing what they really want to do. So it's like, don't be your own worst enemy and don't let society tell you these things are impossible. Because again, like the concept of getting a job at 18 and saving enough money to move out by 20, like these people are convinced that like that's like a bad thing, or that like somehow that it's like not actually possible. Like no one can actually save money. Like no one can actually do these things. But like if you were to ask these people why, what would the answer be? Like even that person who said someone shouldn't have to work 2 jobs just to support themselves, does it matter what it should be or shouldn't be? Like you thinking that it should be easier doesn't change what you have to do. Like, bro, have y'all, if you watch my streams, I know, plugging it Twitch in the description, but if you watch my streams, there's this guy we watch sometimes, and his name is Sloth, okay? I think he's like a self-proclaimed incel. You know, he's super into like black pill and all that jazz, right?
I know.
And he says like, oh, like everyone hates him, everyone treats him horribly, and he's mentioned multiple times, right? Where he's like, oh, I don't dress well or whatever. He's like, I don't care about my clothes. And then he's like, oh, but like I don't want to care about clothes just for these people to like me, right? He's like, it shouldn't be that way. He's like, oh, people say, you know, go to the gym and it'll make dating easier, you know, when you have like a better body. He's like, oh, I shouldn't have to go to the gym to, you know, you see what I'm saying? Like there's kind of like almost like a sense of entitlement. Like I shouldn't have to do these things in order to get XYZ. But that does not change the fact that you might have to do those things to get XYZ. So it's like, how bad do you really want XYZ? And how much do you really hate ABC, which ABC is what you currently have, which is not XYZ. I'm not gonna lie, thought I paused, and that's like the worst time too, because I really fucking cooked that. But you see what I'm saying though, and that's my problem with just like modern people. People are so focused on like the injustice in the world, like, oh man, inflation's so bad, like, well, we should not have like this financial crisis right now, oh, it's so bad. But like, you're not operating within the system that you're given. Like if I'm playing a game, like a board game, and the rules are very unfair, and I'm complaining about how unfair the rules are, and not operating within the rules to do the best I can, I'm gonna lose the game. And that's what be happening to some of you, because you guys are like, ah, man,
You do be live.
shouldn't be like this. This isn't right. You know what I mean? But the thing is, good, bad, right, wrong, it doesn't matter. This is life. This is the life that you're being presented. Now, mind you, this is not saying that you can't advocate for like, hey, like, you know, like these things need to stop. Like we need to get these systems in place, da, da, da. You can advocate for them, okay? But you still have to operate with the tools that you're given. Like after I was forced to medically retire from football, I could have sat around and been like, oh man, like it shouldn't have been like that. Like it shouldn't be like this, like da da da. I could just sat around complaining. Like, man, I should still be on the team right now. Da, da. I could sit around belly aching about that and just like, half-heartedly go to my classes, get a degree in some nonsense where I don't even know what it means. Go back, live with my mom, struggle to find a job in my degree. Like theoretically, I could have done that. But no, instead I was like, okay, this is the state of affairs now.
Now that's not an option. Getting some bullshit degree. Oh my god, that's not an option now. That's not an option. You see, you don't even know what it means.
This is my new status quo. I need to operate within that to be something because I refuse to not be anybody. Do you see what I'm saying to you? You have to operate within the framework no matter how unfair the framework is. It's like an up and coming rapper, right? Like say he's been in the underground for like a couple years. He's been putting in work, releasing music, blah, blah, blah. And then this other person drops their first song and then it blows up and then they're like, man, this is so unfair. I've been working so hard and this person just haphazardly made this little song right here and now they're up and I'm still in the same spot, right? That belly aching, now mind you, that feeling, I'm not saying the feeling isn't natural or isn't valid for a lot of people, but that belly aching is not helping that underground rapper in that situation. Like if I were to sit here and complain about everyone who's more successful in the content creator space than me, what does that do for me? Absolutely nothing, because I have no, like when I tell you you have to operate in the framework, I mean you literally have to. You have no choice. No matter what you do, you're going to be operating within the framework of your life and the situation that you've been given. And you're either going to operate efficiently and you're going to persevere and you're going to achieve what you want to achieve, or you're not going to. So to be successful, sometimes you got to do the hard thing. Sometimes you got to do the thing where you don't necessarily want to do it. Sometimes you're going to have to do the uncomfortable thing. And honestly, that's something I'm struggling with right now. Y'all know I'm not uncomfortable when it comes to like working hard or anything like that, but like socially, I get uncomfortable with like certain social interactions. I'm going to have to step out my box in that sense. And it's like my anxiety isn't just going to disappear in order for me to do that. I'm just going to have to persevere despite the anxiety. So moral of the story, you're going to have to do the thing. Okay? Like you're going to have to. And if you don't tell yourself that you have to, that's when you don't achieve the thing that you want. Again, these people are talking like, oh man, how dare this guy tell me to get a job to move out of my parents' house? What other options is there other than you sitting there for years freeloading? Like, do we see what I'm talking about here? What's that one saying, bro? Everyone wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. All right. And that means something. It really does. And again, bro, if you live with your parents, dude, fine. Like genuinely, I don't care who, like if you personally live with your parents, I don't care. But I'm just saying in general, these people just making excuse after excuse after excuse as to why these people can't move out of their parents' households. It's a problem, it's an issue, and as a society, I don't think it's something that we should promote. Now, mind you, if you decide to stay down there, that's completely fine by me, more success for me. But I'm just saying, if we want a society of successful people, if we want to encourage people to be successful, then maybe let's not normalize things like that. And let's not tell people not to do things that would fit their circumstance just because in theory they shouldn't have to do those things, just because it's unfair. Operate in the framework of your life. It's literally the only thing you can do, okay? And if you can only do one thing, why not do it to the best of your ability, okay? But with that being said, thanks for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, become a member if you want to. Everything I have to say, I'm so sorry. And I love you. Have a great day, night, evening, morning.
We have got to create a new aura economy that rewards education. Aura, I feel like, is that driving force that the masses, like specifically the youth, is really interested in. Who has aura? Edits. Let me tell you something about edits.
No more Zon, bro.
Edits have changed an entire generation.
Never mind.
People, I think, are opting less for watching movies because they can get anywhere from a 30-second to a 5-minute edit that displays this movie in its cinematic nature and the high critical points of it. A little nugget of this movie that perfectly encaptures the aura of it, the impression of it, and they can go. Okay? Especially in a facial economy, a facial social economy that we're living in now.
You know, you just sold. Now I'm distracted. See what you did?
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tell.
Let's see if it falls. I guess that shows the East pretty well, bro. Camera refresh. Yo. It's like I made that.
Up the victims in all our favorite horror movies and show you how they were made. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at The Monkey, released in 2025. The Monkey is the fourth feature written and directed by Oz Perkins, loosely based on the Stephen King short story of the same name. It follows two brothers who inherit a wind-up monkey from their father. Only thing is, it's cursed. Every time it plays, someone dies.
It kills who it wants when it feels like it, and it doesn't owe you an explanation.
And they ain't peaceful deaths either. The Monkey is one of the goriest King adaptations out there. It relishes death as much as any Final Destination. Death is its raison d'etre. Perkins teased the mayhem in a preview that reminds me a lot of the trailer Hitchcock did for Psycho, which of course starred his father, Anthony Perkins.
The heart of the matter is a beloved childhood toy, namely, a monkey. You know the kind. You wind it up and the delightful thing comes to life, banging on its little drum.
As that preview suggests, despite its graphic violence, The Monkey has a darkly comedic and sometimes silly tone. It plays the gore for laughs, bits for bits. It's nothing like Longlegs, the previous Perkins picture that came out less than a year prior. That movie had funny moments,
Mm, I got this chopper on me. That bitch sound like Aaliyah.
But this is a full-blown comedic horror film. The humor doesn't always work for me, sometimes feeling too calculatedly quirky, like the gang of girl bullies and some of the dialogue. We gotta make like eggs and scramble! And this movie is steeped in its style, so not clicking with it is kind of a bummer. But I do like the premise and the story structure, and the way it approaches death as a topic. It's a random, unavoidable part of life that's so awful and shitty, the only thing you can do is laugh.
Everybody dies. And that's life.
There's also a lot of dad stuff, which I'm a sucker for, and the cast is great. This would have been a disaster without actors who understood what Oz was going for. And that's the thing about Perkins. He takes big swings and ain't afraid to get weird. I respect the hell out of that, even when I don't like some of the results. And honestly, while working on this kill count and spending more time with the movie, I've warmed up to it a lot. So give it another chance if you didn't quite love it the first time, or the second. And if this type of humor is your thing, well, you're gonna have a blast. This movie was made for this show, so let's stop monkeying around and get to the kills. The movie begins in a pawn shop. Wait, did I put in a Leprechaun movie? Because this feels a lot like Leprechaun 3. Only instead of a severely injured man, it's a pilot who looks completely fine, except the blood he's covered in. But don't worry, it's not his. It's from an off-screen kill we won't be counting, caused by his monkey toy.
It's not a toy. So, just don't ever call it that.
Captain Petey Shelburne wants a severance with the thing. He says it's cursed. Whenever it bangs its drum, things get messy. See his shirt. So it ain't good when the monkey starts a beat off. A ratty Rube Goldberg unfolds, sending a harpoon flying into the pawn shop owner. Oh shit! Do we take it out or leave it in? I think I'm gonna say we should have left it in. Petey eyes a nearby flamethrower and uses it to melt this monkey like the Ark of the Covenant.
Who's smiling now, you infernal son of a whore?
I am, because I didn't expect to see Adam Scott in this movie. He's best known, of course, as that French dude in Hellraiser Bloodline who, lived 200 years. This movie also jumps time to 1999. Petey's abandoned his family, his wife Lois and their twin sons Hal and Bill. Bill's the big twin by 3 minutes, which he holds over his little bro's head. But little bro Hal holds a bowling ball over Bill's.
I hate you, Bill Shelburne.
Oh my god, that face folded! But don't worry, it was just a fantasy. Since Captain Petey was a pilot, he'd get cheap travel trinkets as gifts for the boys. It's all they have left of him now, and while poking around one day, they find a package they never saw before. It says "Like Life" on the lid.
You mean life like dumb shit?
Fuck off, dude, I can read. Inside is, of course, that funky monkey. Bill turns the brass monkey key, but the primate seems to break down before it finishes its song. Lois has a blind date, so the boys go to dinner with their babysitter Annie. Annie Wilkes, actually, named after the, lovely lady from the other Stephen King story. The monkey tags along too, always threatening to bang a gong, and in no time at all, he gets it on. Inside the hibachi grill, the chef rizzes up Annie with a beating rice heart. Damn, everyone flirting with her. The chef, this kid, hell, even this knife can't control itself around her, since it slices right through her neck. Wow, that blade was sharp. Cut so clean, she don't even know she on the count yet. Oh man, you know that chef is definitely going to prison, all because of a monkey and its drum. King's original story used a classic cymbal-banging monkey, but they couldn't use that for the movie because Disney trademarked the character after it appeared in Toy Story 3. Even though King's story had come out 30 years prior and the original toy debuted in 1932. Thanks, Disney! But Perkins ended up liking this version better, since the drum roll could build suspense. The monkey itself was built by, wait, Amazing Ape Productions? You fucking serious? The Vancouver-based effects house also did Nicolas Cage's Longlegs look. Even with a different instrument, they kept the classic toy monkey look, just made it a little more uncanny. Its hands and feet are a bit too realistic, and its teeth is tinted smoker's yellow.
When I saw those nasty black gums on the teeth of the monkey, it was like, oof. We killed it here, guys.
Young Hal and Bill are both played by Christian Convery there, who we just saw as young Victor in Frankenstein. He does such an amazing job playing two different characters, I didn't realize it was the same actor until my second viewing. And I'm not the only one he kept fooling.
Yesterday, I referenced the twins. I was like, oh, it'll be nice to see the twins. They're so good in this movie. And then I was like, oh no, wait, they're not twins.
The shots with both brothers together were accomplished by doing multiple takes using stand-ins and green screens, which were then comped together in post-production by various VFX teams. The boys attend Annie's funeral.
That's insane.
Fuck. They don't take away too much wisdom from this Joey Richter-type priest, so Lois delves a little deeper into death with them.
It's not if or even how.
When?
It's only when. Everybody dies. And that's life.
Yep, so might as well shake it off and dance. Lois is played by Tatiana Maslany, who you may know from She-Hulk, but I know from Orphan Black. Playing clones in that show actually made shooting all this movie's twin scenes a breeze for her. She worked with Perkins again as the lead in Keeper, which came out later the same year as The Monkey. Oz, when do you sleep? Hal suspects the monkey is responsible for Annie's death. I mean, the thing keeps following him around. Like, it's so obsessed with him. Literally, ew. Playing with his monkey in school gets him hazed by this gang of girl bullies who hopped out of a Gap ad. What the fuck is this? They team up with Bill, who looks unrecognizably goofy here, and give Hal a banana bombardment. He rushes home and tells the primate percussionist he wants Bill dead. Then he cranks that monkey boy. Unlike Uma Thurman, the monkey doesn't kill Bill, who gets home in a shirt I definitely wore in the 6th grade. Instead, after a Spiegel shot of the drumstick, it's Lois who bites the bullet, thanks to a completely random aneurysm.
They said chances of it happening were 1 in 44 million. And that's just another way to say it has to happen to somebody.
Hale deals with his mother's death by going Benihana on the monkey, like that chef awaiting trial for manslaughter. Something kind of fleshy about this toy, though.
What the fuck?
The boys enter the care of their Aunt Ida and Uncle Chip, the latter of whom is played by Oz Perkins himself.
We're gonna do our very best with you boys. It's just that our very best might...
Yo, he's cracked. What a director.
Be, pretty bad.
Haha, sitting there looking like Uncle Elvis. Or wait, no, that's the other Perkins. Oz's brother Elvis, the musician. The original short story only had one protagonist, but Perkins gave him a brother to make it more personal. He wanted to explore the different ways he and his own brother reacted to their parents' deaths. Their father Anthony died from AIDS-related complications in 1992, and their mother Barry Berenson was killed 9 years later on 9/11 as a passenger on American Airlines Flight 11. At first, both deaths felt cruel and personal to Oz, but as time went on, he realized that's just what death is. Random, unavoidable, and universal. That's why the family tragedy of the monkey appealed to him. James Wan's Atomic Monster had been developing the project with a much more serious tone, but when Perkins came on, he overhauled the script to match his own perspective on death, regarding it with a more grim sense of humor. To remind you that this is a Stephen King story, the boys are sent to live in Maine, Casco, Maine, the setting of the short story. It's the birthplace of its locals. They don't make the move alone. The monkey follows them, still kicking despite its earlier dismemberment. Hal tells his brother he thinks the monkey kills people, causing Bill to wonder if their mom died after cranking the key. He decides to test it out to see if it's capable of killing the key turner.
I'm gonna try it. Don't.
Great smash cut there, giving us the end of Uncle Mutton Chip. He was trampled by a stampede during a hunting trip, turning Chip into a sleeping bag of salsa. The boys agree the monkey's too dangerous to keep around and decide to contain it at the bottom of a well. Shit, are you sure I didn't put in a Leprechaun movie? Because this is straight out of the original. Just need a disgusting little shit boy running around. And honestly, Bill's pretty little shitty already. A half hour in, the movie jumps ahead 25 years. Damn, Aunt Ida, how are you still looking so good? She hears a familiar tune and heads into the basement, where the stairs give out to send her face first into fishing hooks. But that's not even what kills her. A whole series of events sends her up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Her gas stove goes off and sets her head on fire, then things go pure slapstick as Aunt Ignita stumbles leg first into a flower pot, and head first into a for sale sign and a freeze frame. Ida's incineration used a stunt person running around with this halo headband to emulate light from a fire. Then an effects technician ran around the house with a prosthetic head doused in lighter fluid, matching the stunt performer's movement. The shots were composited together by Cosa Effects and their VFX supervisor, Tom Rolfe. At Ida's estate sale, a bad boy named Thrasher finds the monkey amongst her belongings. He buys it on behalf of a mysterious local who's promised big bucks to whoever tracks it down. Thrasher's played by Rowan Campbell, seen on the kill count in Halloween Ends and Sabrina Carpenter's Taste music video. His chain-smoking mama, who's hotboxing her home, is played by Janet Kidder, who met her watery end back in Bride of Chucky. Hal's now divorced and intentionally estranged from his family, so they won't get killed by the monkey. He has a job at a grocery store, working for a dude who looks like a kid in his dad's suit. He tells him he's gotta take time off to see his son.
Wait, you got a kid? Shit, man, that sucks.
Hal's son, Petey, named after his dad, only sees Hal once a year. The rest of the time, Petey lives in this radio silence-looking mansion, which is appropriate since his stepdad is Elijah Wood. His mom, and Hal's ex-wife, is played by Laura Minnell, who played the Bound Woman in 13 Ghosts. Stepfather Ted is a leading expert in being dad. Hal was even reading his book earlier. Oh, that's fucking sad. Even worse is that Ted is going to legally adopt Petey, so Hal won't be his dad anymore.
Feel that parental energy transferred from you to me.
Hal gets one last birthday week with Petey before he's cut out of his life forever, so they head out on a father-son road trip. While staying at the Gremlin Motel, Petey asks about his father's family tree, but Hal doesn't want him barking up there, so he lies and says he's an only child. You can tell his whole life has been defined by death, and he's struggled to make connections because of it. That night, he has a Hitchcockian nightmare where a giant King Kong fist goes a bed snatching. It's a fun, creative sequence that ends with Hal on the chimp chopping block, payback for his monkey massacre as a child. He wakes up to a call from a familiar voice.
Well, hello, dumb shit.
It's Bill, who gives a helpful timeline of how little they talk to each other.
Haven't heard from you in, what, 5 years? Haven't seen you in like 10? 9 and 11, and those are just numbers.
Hey man, numbers are important. For what you count. Bill's calling to let Hal know of Ida's freaky death, meaning there's a good chance their furry friend is back in action. Further evidence is when Hal almost gets crushed by an AC unit. It winds up electrifying the motel's pool, and before Hal can stop her, a sexy swimmer dives in, sending her body parts flying everywhere. What the fuck is that, Alec? This splashy kill was achieved by filming a whole bunch of practical elements and then digitally comping them together. First, they shot off some mortars filled with fake blood and body parts. Then a dude in a green screen suit chucked additional body parts from a little bridge across the pool.
And we're all standing over here, the film crew's all standing here, freezing our asses off. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and my guy is out here, Ole is his name, tossing body parts.
Then VFX supervisor Edward Douglas added even more blood in post to get the effect Perkins wanted. Perkins actually figured out how much blood was in a human body, then told his team to add 5 to 8 times more.
So 5 to 8 bodies.
Pretty much all of the monkey's kills were built of practical elements.
Oh, my bad.
Filmed on set or in front of a blue
I thought he was
screen,
talking about
which
that
were then
scene.
combined and touched up by the VFX teams.
That is amazing.
5 to 8 times more. Pretty much all of the monkey's kills were built of practical elements filmed on set or in front of a blue screen, which were then
That's an amazing effect.
combined and touched up
I need to learn that.
By the VFX teams. For the pawn shop owner's death, 30 feet of fake intestines were pulled out of a dummy. The shot was matched up with footage of the real actor, and some digital enhancements were added to the viscera. Hal bundles up Petey and prepares to send him away so he can go to Ida.
They should have put the intestines on a spool.
And track down the monkey alone. But Petey refuses. He knows about the upcoming adoption and would rather spend their last
That would be like way more gruesome.
week together. At Ida's house, they meet her realtor Barbara, and Petey finds out
The fake intestines on the movie shoot.
his dad lied about not having siblings.
That brother Bill of yours is quite the character, isn't he?
Yeah.
Your brother Bill, I mean.
Yes, yes.
Tess Dagenstein gives one of my favorite performances of the film here. She's so freaking funny.
Oh, not a cherished childhood
She's like she looks like an old Peyton List, bro.
memory now, was it? Oh, a first little furry friend filled with whimsy and wonder.
It's giving Jan Hooks in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Barbara says that ever since Ida's passing, people have been dying non-stop in town. Casco's the casket capital of the world, and it's all thanks to a bunch of freak accidents. One dude died of a sinister lawnmower accident, blasting blood into his neighbor's face. Why are you so nonchalant, dude? At the very least, it's ruining that beer. Another kill involved an espresso machine? You gotta be fucking kidding me! How are we on yet another Leprechaun movie? Because we all saw Michael McDonald's death in part 2. Sure enough, the monkey went full Leppy Boy with another dude, steaming his face off into a truly ghastly mess. Finally, a local woman died from a golfing session with a country club cobra.
But there aren't any cobras in Maine, I mean, are there?
Well, there was the one.
The Count sadly gets one more to add when Barbara opens a closet door and knocks over a shotgun that absolutely annihilates her. My God! Her bits and pieces went flying everywhere, even into Hal's mouth. Gross. Also, love the guns don't kill people sign to add to the punchline. Perkins purposefully wanted these deaths to feel sudden and shocking, as a contrast to other horror films like Terrifier, where the kills are much longer and drawn out. He also wanted to keep things silly and over the top, so the tone would stay fun instead of grisly. The kills are meant to be unrealistic and not quite physically possible. He cited the Itchy and Scratchy show as a tonal influence, as well as Death Becomes Her, Gremlins, and An American Werewolf in London. I think that tone works great for the kills, but sometimes the characters react to them a little too goofy for me. Like when the local cheerleaders pep rally around Casco's latest death.
They're bringing the body
Hal gets a call from Bill that makes him realize his brother still lives in town. He uses the phone book with his Unk powers and finds out Bill's acquired the monkey again. He's the one Thrasher picked it up for.
If this is in regards to my ad, I'm happy to report that my quest for finding my beloved toy monkey is over.
The movie's final third kicks off with a villainous voiceover from Bill. He realized as kids, after they dropped the monkey in the well, that Hal had turned the crank that led to their mother's death. He tried to retrieve the weapon of simian destruction, but it was gone, leaving only the key to its heart, or at least to its back. For a long time, Bill saw nothing, but then signs began to appear and tease him. Occasionally, they'd even strip tease him. Jesus Christ. Oh, I think Bill just found his hear me out. To help usher the monkey back into his life, he broke into Ida's house to create this Guy Funeral getup from his kitty clothes. It's ridiculous behavior, but I buy it as believable from Bill. As a kid, he tried to will his mom back to life by screaming at her corpse and believed his funeral suit might have magical powers.
But if I don't take it off, then I won't have to put it back on. So there won't be any more funerals.
Just like Convery as the kid versions, actor Theo James does a great job playing two distinct characters. It's like 2025's other twin horror movie performances. I keep forgetting there's actually just one guy. James thought of Hal as a 1980s
I cannot look at Michael B. Jordan and be like, yep, that's two dudes, bro.
beleaguered everyman.
That's the dumbest shit about that. Oh.
And like Tom Hanks, while Bill was much more unhinged.
And then Bill is, you know, more like me, just like a
sort of a lusty child in a man's body.
Exactly.
Since getting the monkey back, Bill's been cranking it every night and day, trying to sick its wrath upon Hal. Unsuccessfully, and unfortunately for plenty of other folk. Like Hal's boss, Dwayne. Remember Dwayne?
Shit, man, that sucks.
He goes from vape god to sideshow Bob and chokes to death on his cartridge.
Shit, man, that sucks.
You know, now that we have the story revealed, I am left wondering about Aunt Ida's death. Thrasher found the monkey after she died, so who turned the key that killed her in the first place? Come on, Perkins, who was phone? Speaking of, Thrasher's back at Bill's house with a business proposition.
Maybe I could give you your $15 back and instead I could just keep the toy monkey thing.
It's not a toy, don't ever call it that.
He's grown attached to the not toy because I guess it gives him VHS-style memories of his cop father. Bill tells him to fuck off, so Thrasher grabs his old man's old uniform and prepares for battle.
Yo, both shops!
You got any extra bullets?
What caliber?
Great single line delivery from Jeremy Cox, who did second unit photography on this movie and Longlegs. The two Perkins movies share a lot of cast members. Espresso Man Scott Nicholson was the cop who arrested Nick Cage. Pawn shop owner Shafin Kareem had a hilarious scene as the hospital director. And the leader of Hal's school bullies is Bea Perkins, Oz's daughter, who was also that annoyed store clerk. Hal calls his brother and begs him to stop trying to kill him. Bill makes a counteroffer. Since the monkey won't kill the person who turns the key, Bill can keep Petey safe by having him crank it until one of the twins is dead. Hal doesn't want to involve Petey, who gets pissy when he finds out his dad never wanted a kid in the first place.
So I was an accident? Is that what you're saying?
Everything is an accident, yes.
But it was only because he didn't want to subject an heir to monkey mayhem. Unlike the elder Petey, Hal's able to communicate this with a heart-to-heart.
But you are not a mistake. I'm so glad you're here with me. You're very precious to me.
The scenes between Hal and Petey work well, since neither character is ever asked to be too over the top. Theo James and Colin O'Brien get to sit in the emotion without having to undermine it with a joke. Their bonding is interrupted by Thrasher, whose sloppy cop act works through the peephole. At gunpoint, he takes them to Bill's place and sends Petey to retrieve his prize.
It's a toy monkey?
Don't call it that.
Petey makes his way inside, narrowly avoiding Bill's Home Alone house renovations. He manages to find his uncle, who convinces him to give his ape addiction a spin. Outside, Thrasher complains about his deadbeat dad. It's deadbeat dads all the way down in this movie. A whole stack of Rey Mysterios. Thrasher and Hal realize they're parked behind a hornet's nest. As the monkey beats to the beat of the drum, oh, what a shame. Thrasher shoots it with his gun. Because of that, Thrasher dies young when he gets 100 cc's of BBs injected directly into his mouth. Insert obligatory joke about how that's gotta sting. Yeah, that's actually nasty as hell though. Campbell's performance was captured on set by the VFX supervisor, allowing their CG stream of hornets to interact with his body on the way inside. A real nasty looking practical dummy was also utilized. Enraged that Hal is still alive, Bill tries to manhandle the monkey into submission. The roughhousing puts the monkey in rapid fire mode. Holy shit, dude, he's going faster than that possessed skeleton toy. Drum roll causes all of Casco to plunge into catastrophe. I can only count what I see though, so I'll start with the pilot and co-pilot. We can assume we're on the plane that crashes here. I've learned from my mistaken Wishmaster. The monkey gives us more concrete kills when 3 drum hits send 3 skydivers wedding crashing through the ceiling. It's a good callback. Petey suggested this skydiving company as an activity earlier.
They do weddings.
Hal joins his son inside and goes to kick his brother's ass. In the end though, you can't really blame him. After all, he did try killing him first. And also, he did kill their mom.
I know how you feel. She was my mom too. Oh yeah.
Like most sibling squabbles, the brothers quickly make up, even if Bill can't resist teasing his little bro. Some things never change. Like, really never change.
Sorry.
But the monkey's still good for one more hit. It triggers a booby trap backfire that takes a little off Bill's top with his mother's bowling ball, fulfilling Hal's childhood revenge fantasy. Petey and Hal have an awkward car ride back to town. They pass more of Bill's victims, like the surfboard businessman and a, holy shit, flaming baby carriage.
I mean, I get that everybody dies, and that's life, but this is like everybody dies, you know, at the same time.
Their tour de mort ends with an appearance from the Pale Rider himself, because whenever you think you've met this movie where it is, it takes it one step further. The surviving Shelburnes make peace with their metaphor for tragedy and agree to safekeep the monkey. They drive off into the horizon, and the movie ends with a bus-wide cheer capitation of that cheerleader squad from On the Lawn earlier. Just some last-minute kills, courtesy of the last-minute title card. How many heartbeats stopped when the drum beat started? Let's find out and get to the... We counted 30 kills in the monkey, consisting of 11 men, 16 women, and 3 unknown victims, one of whom was a baby. There's a baby in that pie chart. Hate to see it. This exact count and breakdown hasn't been seen before, but 3 other movies did have 30 kills. With a runtime of 98 minutes, The Monkey had a kill on average every 3.27 minutes. I'll give the Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill to The Sexy Swimmer. This movie is awash with great kills, and on a different day, I might have picked a different one. But I'll go with this one for now, partly because of Hal's reaction. What the fuck is that, Alex? Dog Machete for lamest kill will go to Lois. It's still pretty bloody, but it feels like The Monkey kind of phoned this one in. And that's it. The Monkey came out in 2025 and made over $66 million on a budget of only 11. I didn't realize it was that successful. Next week, we're peeking at more Perkins with Psycho 3. But until then, I'm James A. Janice. this has been the Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count for the Monkey. The Monkey Kill Count was originally supposed to be done last November because it won a poll on our YouTube community post.
We have got to create a new aura economy that rewards education. Aura, I feel like, is that driving force that the masses, like specifically the youth, is really interested in. Who has aura? Edits. Let me tell you something about edits. Edits have changed an entire generation. People, I think, are opting less for watching movies because they can get anywhere from a 30-second to a 5-minute edit that displays this movie in its cinematic nature and the high critical points of it. A little nugget of this movie that perfectly encaptures the aura of it.
I'm not understanding. My camera sucks. Tink.
The impression of it, and they can go. Okay?
Now I want to watch the monkey.
Especially in a facial economy, a facial social economy that we're living in nowadays, specifically online. Like, aura, presence, right, is everything right now. And right now, it's really not based in anything concrete. It's really just like, what is the ratio of your mandible to your maxilla, whatever. Nonsense that all these nerds online are obsessed with. I think we need to create ASAP a new aura economy on the basis of how intelligent you are. How many truth nukes can you drop in a solid minute? You know, like, I used to debate online. Like, I used to debate on this app. I was 14. From the years of 14 to 17, I used to debate incels about capitalism and communism every day. I knew this stuff by heart. I wrote 300 pages with a friend regarding capitalism, communism, critiques of capitalism, arguments for communism, just so I could come in a debate like a freaking intellectual genius every single time and crush the show. There was an intimidation on the basis of how much knowledge you had. And the entire hierarchy in this online social community, because it was truly community, it was like a microcosm of the internet with different sides. You know, there was like a Twitter, it was like almost like a Twitter version. There was a debater section, and there's just like the normies used to rate each other. It was nonsense. But specifically in the debating section of, you know, the group, coolness, like how much aura you had, was on the basis of how good you were at debating. And this created a group for incels who were really outcast socially to really have their time to shine, and they really abused this power. It was like a micro civilization over again, you know, all over again. They used to hoard information, hoard books, hoard philosophy. They wouldn't tell anybody what they were talking about, and allow people to kind of engage with the ideas, you know. And they used to make these tier lists where they would basically rank people on the basis of how smart they were. Naturally, the people who ran these political philosophy spaces were majority white, so they used to put all, you would see a gradient where it's like S tier debaters would be all these white boys. Then you would slowly go down, you see black people. Okay, I say all this to say that I used to participate in a digital social community, a digital social experiment where the hierarchy was run off of the basis of intelligence and intelligence alone. And what it bred was a bunch of people who, even the people who were deemed the stupidest, had a baseline understanding of how this world works. Like, there was an entire social game that was on the basis of how much you knew. Everyone was taking the political compass test. Every single person would take the political compass test in this community. And you would be judged on the basis of where you got. You know, if you're a centrist, you're cooked. Why are you in the center, in the middle of that? Like, what are you talking about? Like, people would, like, if you were, the more left wing you were, the cooler you were in this group, at least for the normal people. But as things progressed along, you know, the ideology that took over these communities, let me repeat that. the ideologies that took over these communities became more and more right wing in a very esoteric way. They started to introduce ideologies that were more and more, complex, but also morally based. So it was an interesting scenario, and it's not definitely the model I would want for society today, but it was so different in this way that like people were not cool on the basis of how many drugs they were doing. It was like high school, except you were cool based on how well you were able to articulate yourself, how well you were, able to carry out a debate. And that just trained me for years to be good at this thing. That really was it. I was around a bunch of like, honestly, genius young people. Some of the smartest people were like 12, 13 in there. And it was crazy. It was genuinely a crazy social experiment. But it's like, as much as it was horrible, and as much as a lot of people just became racist over time, for God knows why, what reason, crazy social experiment. But it's like, as much as it was horrible, and as much as a lot of people just became it was horrible, and as much as a lot of people
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not
just
gonna
became
do it.
racist over time, for God knows why, what reason. It was really interesting to see what it would look like maybe if people started to value intelligence. And I started to think like, why can't we have this in real life? Like this would be such a win for the left if like finally people could orient themselves around intelligence. Intelligence could be like the thing that makes you cool. I think we need to establish that instantly somehow. Like, I think right now the personalities that we see online, they are genuinely cool people, but it's like a lot of them don't really have anything to say. I can't imagine it's super, super fulfilling to be some of these content creators, because it's like they don't actually propagate any message other than being themselves. I think it would
Yes, yeah. The buzzword.
make it a whole lot more, I don't even know. I think being one of these popular personalities, it would make it a whole lot more fulfilling if they had some intellectual credence to them as well. Like if they had beliefs, out there, and if that was part of, their actionable identity. Like for me, I think intelligence is a part of my identity, but I've struggled because I don't want it to be my entire identity. Like I've never wanted to just be a brain. I've struggled sometimes with feeling just like a brain and not a person, where people come to me for facts and knowledge, but not like as somebody with presence. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, that's why you don't do that. You don't gotta perceive.
So I feel like we need to start to balance that. And in this world where everything is understimulating, I feel like this kind of content that can integrate personality.
Well, this should be understimulating. I guess people.
With this illuminating thought. It's not even just like this IQ kind of thing, but just like thoughts that actually break the fourth wall. Thoughts that actually cause an experience to dawn upon you. Like, like an awe, right? An awe-inspiring nature, I think, would really benefit in the society where we have people, personalities with so much force. If they were able to break the fourth wall in that way, that would be different, I think that Hassan has done somewhat of a decent job with this, because obviously he kind of doesn't limit himself to the political community. He also gets, into comedy on his podcast. He personalizes himself a little bit. He does collabs with like Quen Blackwell, so there's a difference there. But like, we don't have a lot of that. We really don't have a lot of that. I think that we need to have intelligent people be humanized. So it's not like you're just in your little corner of the internet for smart people, but you are like an individual who has morality and intelligence at their crux, to make that personality mimetic again, to make that personality spreadable again. I think that love and intelligence are not only intertwined, but some of the most mimetic, desirable traits, Like when you have love at your core, there's a charisma there. There's something that people want to emulate there. There's something about that wants to spread. And it's like we just see more people just kind of like focusing on themselves and being this personality for themselves rather than embodying something bigger than themselves that could do even more. You know, I feel like, yeah. I think the left does struggle because we kind of push ourselves to more of this like informational corner of the internet for people who actually want to go out of their way to seek out and learn, when I think we need to be bigger than that. I think that we need to be personalities for people to replicate, because there could be a society where it's not apathy at our core, but instead it's like this affect of being lovable, loving people, and being intelligent. That's literally, I think, what personalities need nowadays. They need like an awe-inspiring affect, you know? They need to, I don't know, I mean, I feel like the system of capitalism and its AI-like nature is so fascinating. Maybe I'm just a nerd, but I feel like if you were to confront the system a little bit more head-on as a personality, like I feel like that would do wonders. Like, maybe I am just a nerd. Maybe I'm the only one who finds this stuff interesting. Maybe I don't know. But it's like, I feel like people could just break the fourth
You could be a nerd.
wall just a little bit more. You know, I think that that's what the left needs if we're going to survive the techno-capital singularity that is trying to establish itself, that people are just accepting. I think that we need to be more palatable in a personality-based way. And I also think that personalities need to wake people up a little bit more. You know, I feel like there's something that is also just being noticed by audiences where it's just like what I'm watching is just kind of someone talk. You know, it's like streamers specifically. It's just I'm just watching a guy live his life. It's like there's got to be more injected into the content than that. You know? W's in the chat.
You should have ended it. Fuck, I have to edit all that.
With that being said, you know what else? We got monetized. Right. So we now have tiers to membership. You can be a super wiener, a super weenie hut junior, weenie hut senior, and whatever. I don't know. Something like that. Tell me how YouTube works, please. I don't get it. Okay, bye. We are living Monsters Inc.
Bro, I could not describe the last two videos I watched.
Describe 3 different reels you watched yesterday.
Oh, reels? Can I cheat? Oh, geology shit. It was like when there's cheese on my burger, so I genuinely just start fighting employees, bro.
Just 3. We can't? Okay. Describe 3 different TikToks you watched yesterday. Oh, you can't. Oh, you can't.
I gave up, bro. It would have been like gun videos. This dude had like a small ass. Bro, that was today, bro.
Okay, then what happened to that time?
I don't scroll TikTok though. It would have been easier if I was on TikTok.
Like, what happened to those hours you spent? Like, there must have been 100 reels you watched. If you don't have the memory of it, did it really happen?
No.
When I was younger, I used to think about like this idea of losing memory.
She should have just. Why did she say reels, bro? Videos would have been easier.
Or waking up from a coma, and I just couldn't fathom it. I used to think about this idea that you could drink alcohol and black out and not remember the last day. As a kid, I was like, how is that even possible? Did
I still don't understand that.
it even happen if you can't remember it? Like, how can you do something and be there and be conscious, and then it just leaves your mind? Where did it go? Like, and the fact that we're having those same effects from scrolling, like, there's got to be something different. Like, I've got to research now, like, the effects of scrolling short form on social media, because I'm sure there's something different about YouTube. YouTube has got to be like, I can remember the YouTube video I watched yesterday. The YouTube video I watched yesterday specifically told me this. He said, predict the next thought you're about to have.
Why is there so much background noise?
You can't do it, can you? He said, predict.
That was my next thought right there.
The next thought that you're gonna have. And then I started like to laugh hysterically because I literally could not. Like, I sat there and I tried to predict the next thought I was going to have, and there was silence in my mind.
What?
For the first time, and maybe you just experienced it. I'll try to link his account, but I was just like, wow. So for the first time, I had control of my rumination for the first time. But also I realized now that I am letting my mind experience void-like blips for hours at a time every single day. So essentially I'm wasting away my timeline into a void that I cannot remember. You know, I think, and it's like, that video also said that people in their 30s.
Actually, bro, I remember what I'm doing while I'm watching reels, because I have like 1 minute on TikTok a day. Cause I'll be posting. So like, fuck that.
In 40s, we're now becoming more and more likely to be diagnosed with early onset dementia. And I started to think about it. I'm like, people with dementia cannot remember things, right? If you really think about your time as a human being on this earth, and you now realize that you cannot remember the stuff that you scroll past, right?
Because I'm scrolling past it, but like if I watch it, bro, I watched Joe Rogan interviews so I could feel really smart. But then he had, what's his name? Theo Vaughn on, and they were doing smelling salt. And that was really fun to watch. Because Theo's like giving it back, and then he was like, hold on, I need one more. And then Joe was like, I can't leave you hanging. He's like, hey, bro.
The more and more your time is consumed by the scrolling, you're creating longer and longer blips in your memory, and then thus your ability to encode memory, right? I started to think about it just logically. If you didn't have a phone at all, your brain is probably just normally encoding memories, and it's working out that muscle. But if you have a phone and you're using it and your addiction gets worse and worse and worse to the point where your screen time is 10 hours a day doing God knows what, maybe 7 hours of that is scrolling, and you can't remember the 6 hours of that scrolling every single day, 6 hours of time gone, 6 hours of memory encoding gone. And it just dawned on me, bro. It just dawned on me. That is freaking wild. Like, what are we doing to ourselves? I'm holding my light just so you guys can see me. What are we doing to ourselves? And it's like, I'm not gonna sit here and say like, stop scrolling, but I actually started to really think about it. I don't even like it. And it's like,
just delete TikTok. That's all you got to do.
I had to.
It's the first step.
To turn it on in my brain. This is gonna sound like so stupid. It's gonna.
You could re-download it, but eventually you got to delete TikTok.
It sounds so stupid, but when I was younger, I had a phone, and for a good 6 months of having that phone, I did not touch it. Like, I knew I could use my phone, but I took one good look at the algorithm, and I was like, eh. Like, I didn't give myself the full hour it takes or 30 minutes it takes to generate your curated algorithm. It wasn't interesting enough. I saw puppies, I saw dogs, I saw somebody doing some ASMR. I was like, what the heck am I watching? I threw the phone away, and I used to watch YouTube videos. I used to watch Wayside School on YouTube every single day after school. In middle school, and then one day I just realized everyone's doing this thing. Okay. And I started to scroll. And that was how my minor phone addiction began. I was still pretty competent, still pretty functional, but then it started to eat away at my nights. And suddenly it was like I started to develop insomnia. Like, I could not go to sleep. I had to be scrolling, and if I wasn't scrolling at night, I was, God knows, you know.
The fuck does that mean?
I just could not go to sleep. And then, so there was TikTok, and I didn't really have that severe of a TikTok addiction. I was more so addicted to debating incels online over capitalism and communism during quarantine. But then, sometime around last year, I was making TikTok videos. I wasn't really watching them, but something in me told me, just, everyone's scrolling, you know, just like scroll. Like, what is so good about this thing? If everyone's doing it, there has to be something good about it. And I started to scroll. And I didn't even necessarily like it. It felt like I was fighting with my brain, but I didn't stop. It became like something that just kept happening. I didn't really like it. I wasn't necessarily consenting, but I just kept doing it. And if, you know, myself, like, I authorized myself to scroll, and